All right. Morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Trading Bitcoin with your host, Tone Vays, and Merry Christmas to everyone that is celebrating. Today will be Christmas Eve. I may or may not do a video tomorrow, but we will see how the night goes. I may do some spaces today. It feels like a good day. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. I'm not sure. But Yeah, we'll see for the holidays. We'll hang out in spaces. All right, let's go to the charts. See what's going on. Bitcoin did pump a little bit for the holidays. So here we are. Here's the weekly chart. The candle is, of course, nice and bullish. We have broken above the prior candle. The thing is that the stock market, let me see the stock market should still, no, the stock market is not open today. This is the futures market. The stock market is closed in observation of Christmas. So Bitcoin is on its own. The stock market did close at a brand new all-time high, yet Bitcoin is nowhere near its all-time high. So while it is somewhat correlated with the stock market, it is not identical to the stock market because otherwise Bitcoin would be at a brand new all-time high itself. We are respecting the 50-period weekly moving average for now. Let's see how this candle closes. Without the stock market in the way, Bitcoin is left to its own devices. So let's see if we can close at such a high price. We are still in a downtrend, and we have absolutely no idea if this is going to reverse this downtrend or not. TA is very, very clear here that we are in a downtrend no matter what fundamental analysis will tell you. TA is in a downtrend. Eventually, all downtrends end. The last downtrend ended right at this same moving average. So maybe this one will end here as well, but we will need one of these candles to prove it to us, okay? I will always be bearish here, and I will always be bullish here because I am also bullish throughout the middle, just like I am bearish throughout the middle. Trying to guess where the bottom is going to be is what turns traders into Uber drivers because they run out of money guessing the bottom and guessing the top. Trying to time the middle is what keeps you being a trader. Let's go to our 4-day chart. Now, this candle is very, very promising, but I need one more. We need one more. We need to break the next moving average because according to Consensio, yes, we are now above the 3-period moving average. That's the 3. But this one I'm using is the 9. Now, Tyler Jenks liked to use the 7. I changed it to a 9-period moving average. If we use the 7, we are above it. Tyler used to use a 2-period, a 7-period, and a 30-period. I changed it to a 9 because I felt that the 9 did a better job reacting, and because I changed the 2-period moving average to a 3-period moving average. Also notice the 9 never crossed over here, but the 7 would have. I'm gonna take the even slightly more conservative route, okay? Because the next candle, look what the next candle will do. If the next candle is trading above $51,000, that would set up the moving average crossover and the close above both moving averages. At that point, we can go in up to 40% in Bitcoin. The reason we can go in 40% is because the long-term moving average is not really trending down. And the long-term moving average is the 30-period moving average. It is not yet trending to the downside. It is flat. And by being flat, we're not yet in a downtrend. So I want to get back to 100% allocation as quickly as possible. And I can get back into the 100% allocation when Bitcoin breaks $55,000. And then we can ride the 100% allocation potentially all the way to 100K. But trying to time this bottom, even though it perfectly coincided with the MRI on this chart, I don't really use this chart for the MRI. And the weekly chart did not give me an MRI buy opportunity, and neither did the daily chart. Before we talk about the daily chart, come join us at Unconfiscatable in Las Vegas, where we have an awesome lineup of speakers. Please follow the Unconfiscatable Twitter handle as we are announcing all of the new speakers that are entering. Added another line of speakers here. We're going to line these up a little bit more. We're just trying to crank out as many pictures as we can. We have Erica, you guys saw her on my channel yesterday from down here in Miami, D++. We got Britt from BTC Pay Server, along with Uncle Rockstar from BTC Pay Server as well. And Chris Hunter, Bitcoin Beach Wallet, Surfer Jim, Alex Svetsky. We got really, really cool people coming. You see all the other people that we already have on the website. So come and join us. Still selling tickets at 400. They will eventually go up to 500. Carnivory dinner is going to sell out. There's nothing we can do about that. That is the VIP/speaker dinner. I don't like to have very exclusive things. So anyone is welcome to join this dinner, but seats are incredibly limited here. It's at the Mob Museum, which is going to be awesome. Scammy Awards, of course, I got to get the nominees out. I'll just sneeze for a second, guys. All right. Let's get back to the charts. All right. Here is that daily chart. The daily chart has a ridiculous wall of resistance. And that wall is going to rear its ugly head later this month, right around New Year's time, at approximately $55,000. Okay? At approximately 55,000. Look at your live chat, guys. What about drawing the right shoulder? I don't care about head and shoulders. Not my trading strategy, head and shoulders. I don't use head and shoulders. I don't use head and shoulders. I don't use white golf accumulations. I don't use wedges. Those are not my favorite tools. Now, I teach these tools. Now, if you do purchase the technical analysis educational video from tonebase.com, products and services on demand videos, I do teach this stuff, but I don't really use it because that's not my favorite tool. I teach all kinds of TA. It's impossible to use all TA. I don't teach all TA. There's infinite amount of TA. I teach a fair number of it, but I don't use all of it. I use some of it. I use my favorite ones. And head and shoulders is just not one of them. But moving averages are, so is the MRI. So are ascending and descending triangles. So we've broken this downward trend line. We have broken it with a green star candle. That is certainly potential for a short-term bullish trade utilizing the daily chart up until this area. I don't like fudging these arrows, but this arrow was really meant to hit the moving average. Obviously, we've got a few more candles. I'm going to turn this arrow a little bit. No, I'm not going to do that because then I'm going to think that I drew it perfectly on time earlier. But I'm going to delete some of these live on camera because they are cluttering the chart. I always did expect some kind of a snapback off the 200-day moving average into the 128-day moving average. The 50-period moving average is dropping very, very quickly. Let's see if we can get into this circle with an MRI sell indication, and that could actually be problematic. You have double resistance right here with a downward trend line plus the moving average. And if this thing goes down any further, the 50 period, these are very likely to cross over, creating another horrible resistance zone. Look, the last time these two crossed, the last time these two crossed right here, Bitcoin was already pretty depressed. Bitcoin did not have much further to fall. Here's the crossover. Bitcoin is already very low. Bitcoin only fell another 15%, which is not a lot. But look how long it took. It took for the final bottom to happen with the MRI, I might add. It went from the very end of May into the middle of July. So it took over a month and a half. Okay. Then it took another month or so, end of August, another month and a half, in order for them to cross back over. Now, Bitcoin was already rising during that time. See, this is why using the crossovers to enter trades is a really bad idea. You should never short this depth cross because the price is so extended from the cross. You should never buy this crossover because the price is so extended from the cross. But when the price is entering the cross, that is a shorting opportunity. Okay, that's what people don't realize about depth crosses and golden crosses. They're only trading opportunities when the price is taking place inside the crossover. Love, thank you so much for your generous donation in Indian rupees. Hope you guys are faring well over in India. Is Dubai nice in February? It's very nice in February. Dubai starts to get warm around April. So November, December, January, and February, and most of March is beautiful in Dubai. Do you need to stick up your nose? It depends on what country you fly from. Unfortunately, Dubai does do the up the nose stick COVID tests. They are not as aggressive with them. But if you fly in from certain countries, there's a list. If you fly in from US, if you fly in from like half of Europe, like Germany or Switzerland, but you can't fly through Switzerland unless you're vaccinated. So there's a list of countries where you just land and you don't need anything. You just have to show them your PCR test from your home country. But then there are countries where they will test you at the airport. And then on the way out, you'll again need a PCR test to get it, but that depends on your country you're going to. So if you're going from, say, Dubai to Mexico, you're not going to need anything. If you're going from Dubai to the US, you can get an at-home kit and you can test yourself in your hotel room. That's what I do. Tone sold the bottom again. How do you feel? I feel great. I feel great because I didn't sell the bottom. I sold up here. Okay. I sold up here and I avoided sleepless nights at the bottom. Feel great because I sold up here. Okay. You up here, down here, I just sold the final 20%. I started selling at 60. Okay. And I had very good nights of sleep over here. Okay. When this crash happened, I was already more than half out. So I feel great. Everyone that makes fun of me saying you sold the bottom held throughout the whole drop. And that's fine. If that is your strategy of holding throughout the entire drop, that's okay. That is your strategy. That is not my strategy. My strategy is not to hold through drops. My strategy is to hold while it rises. I may miss the first 5 to 10% of the rise, but I'm going to catch the other 90%. In Georgia, government tried to push boosters. That is very unfortunate. Georgia has been one of my favorite countries. And if they force a vaccine mandate, that's another favorite country of mine that I may never visit again. And it's very, very unfortunate. Georgia was up in my top 5, along with Hong Kong and Singapore. And Hong Kong and Singapore are no longer in my top 20, maybe not even in my top 25 of countries. They're done. But I'll tell you what's being added. Like, I've never been to El Salvador, but that's at the top of the list now. Never been to Brazil. That's near the top of my list. I've been to Mexico. That went to the top of my list. Wasn't even in my top 10 earlier, but now it's at the number 1 spot. Why are you selling your Maxi? Guys, how interesting will this show be if I didn't even show the charts and I just sat here and said, dollar cost average, buy and hold, never sell, just buy and hold. Get off fiat zero. Like, who would watch? At least I have 350 people watching right now because these people care about the price of Bitcoin and where it's going. Okay. You have to come up with your own strategy. Are you a trader or are you a hodler? Do you dollar cost average or do you try to time the market? You know, I used to do other shows on this channel, like news shows, law shows, scam shows, but I'm not doing them right now. So this is all I got. I can do a show about dollar cost averaging. I can go on and say, today we bought $50 worth of Bitcoin. Let's see how the historical stats are doing. And then we can do it again tomorrow. I don't know how interesting that would be, but we can do it. All right, guys, if you are interested in trading and investing, come join us at the Financial Summit in the Dominican Republic, a place that has no PCR test to enter nor a vaccine mandate. This is why we chose Dominican Republic, a beautiful castle right on the coast. One of the most incredible resorts in all of the Dominican Republic. It's an incredible, and these other pictures from the actual resort, by the way. Absolutely beautiful resort. This is at the top of the castle. Gorgeous place. This is also at the top of the castle. Come and join us at the Financial Summit. It is absolutely awesome. We're going to be releasing some cool videos real soon. Yeah, Merry Christmas, everyone. Whoa, let's see this. Haven't even looked at this chart. Well, look at my green arrow from yesterday. As I stated, we needed to break the prior swing high. And as you guys hear me say all the time, double tops are meant to be broken. I don't remember what I exactly said on yesterday's video, but I'm pretty sure it was something like, once this pullback is over and we go back up and we break the prior double top, it should accelerate very nicely into the next level of resistance. So anyone that is trading these kinds of charts, these 4-hour charts, these 1-hour charts, you had a beautiful opportunity to go long right here. Now, this took place at noon yesterday, right after my stream. I was already hanging out with people yesterday afternoon, so I did not even see that happen. But it's cool. And look, we hit an MRI top on the hourly. We've been consolidating ever since. We are still consolidating. Where's my parallel channel? There. So we draw a channel. What the hell? So we draw a channel. Is this a channel or what? What's going on? Okay, something's wrong. Let's try this again. We draw a channel that touches the maximum number of candles without touching any of the bodies of those candles. And we're right at the bottom of that channel. So if we can break out of this channel to the upside, we'll have one more swing. And when we're dangerously close to breaking the bottom of that channel, we got 6 minutes to go. We're going to stay inside this channel. Channels at the top of a range are more bullish than bearish. BW, thank you for your Christmas donation. Let me read your comment. Thanks for teaching me how to trade. Never bought your course, but did it on my own from you and a couple of others. Changed my life beyond belief. I'm looking to leave my day job, hopefully sometime in the near future. Excellent. Congratulations, BW. Yes, you don't have to purchase my courses to learn how to trade. I have a free learn trading section as well. You can learn it on your own. There is nothing stopping you from learning it on your own. Just don't get scammed. The only thing I can vouch for on my courses is they're not going to scam you. They are designed to teach you how to trade so you can do it on your own. They are not follow the leader. I'm not going to give you trading signals. It's just education. It's just education. It's not expensive. I lowered the prices. I never turned the prices back on. And you can also purchase the MRI indicator. I lowered the price for Black Friday. I never pushed it back up. It's still $750. Maybe one day it'll be free. I don't know. We will see. It depends. The more services I offer, the more customer support I need to do. I would like to just focus on the events. I would love to just focus on the financial summit. If we can do 3 of these successful financial summits every year, I will probably just give away all of my stuff for free. I mean, we'll see. Slush Fund, thank you. Thank you for your generous donation as well. Thank you, Jessica, for your lovely comment. All right, unconfiscatable. Hey, you can come challenge me in axe throwing or bowling. We're doing that the day after the conference, just to hang out with people. The conference is Friday and Saturday. The poker game is on Thursday. You can register for poker here. We need to have a video played right there. It's going to come up in a minute. Well, maybe in a day or two. All right, guys. I might do a spaces a little bit later. Look at GBTC. See, this is what I mean. When GBTC is rising, so does the premium. When GBTC is falling, so does the premium. One of these days, we're gonna hit FOMO, and when we hit FOMO, trust me, I'll be in. I'll be in when we hit FOMO. I need this crossover. We are playing it safe. We're playing it safe. Need this crossover. I don't really want it to pop in the next 2 days. I wanted to consolidate a little bit longer through the holidays and then pop with the crossover. We'll be 50% in, and then we'll go 100% in when we cross the next moving average. This is a very simple plan. Very simple plan. Last time it was 100% cash was back here, and look the disaster we avoided. Thank you for watching, guys. Thank you for sticking around. All right, I'll grab a question or two. Your thoughts on Reggie Middleton? That's a very open-ended question. Reggie joins me sometimes in my on Twitter in spaces. I don't have any thoughts on Reggie Middleton. I thought it was unfortunate that the SEC went after him. I did interview him when he was launching the token, and I warned him, but I'm surprised they went after him. There's at least 1,000 more scammy projects than Reggie Middleton's Veritasium. But they went after him. Tone, please tell more about the summit 2022, the financial summit. You know what? We're going to have awesome videos from the last financial summit, just like promo videos. We did not record any of the sessions, which is unfortunate because they were great. I mean, what to expect at the financial summit? Expect a lot of successful, wealthy financial people. You're in a room with 40 successful financial people, people that manage money, people that run hedge funds, people that trade. You're in a room with people that are smarter than you. That's the room you want to be in. You never want to be in a room where you're the smartest guy in the room. You don't want to be in that room. It's a very frustrating room to be in. It's like Idiocracy, right? Where if you haven't watched Idiocracy, I mean, like, you don't want to be the smartest guy in the room. You want to be in a room with people that are smarter than you. And you want to respect the fact that they're smart, right? Not people with a lot of credentials and you're there, holy shit. I know this guy graduated from MIT and is teaching there, but he's a total idiot. Well, like, you don't want to be in that room. You want to be in a room going, holy shit, you know, maybe I should shut up. Maybe I shouldn't speak. Because these people are smart and I respect the fact that they're smart, and maybe I should just listen. That's the kind of room you're in with about 50 people. Am I coming to London anytime soon? Maybe in May. I might come in May. There's a conference there called AIM, Alternative Investment Summit. Alternative. Yes. Jan 6 committee is investigating the role of Bitcoin in the failed coup. Of course they are. Tone is in real trouble. No, he's not. They will be coming for you soon. I doubt it. They would have came for me already. So, funding rate, that's a good question. Yeah, guys, I'm going to do more on the financial side once some of the videos come out. They're really cool. I can't wait to get them on the website. And we have some testimonial videos. I mean, don't hear it from me. You're gonna hear it from the testimonial videos. Let's just say everyone that comes to this event is very, very happy they spent the money. I have had no complaints. We've already done 2 of them. I know they're expensive. Where's the price? I know it's expensive, and no one has complained. The only people that have complained about the price are the people that didn't go. But if you only have $10,000 to your name, this is not an event for you. This is an event for those that have this kind of money to spare. Okay. There was a question there somewhere. Merrick, thank you for your generous donation. You know what? I should send this link over to like Bitcoin Mechanics, see if he wants to join in chat. Should I just post a link to this and have random people join me on a live stream? I'm not really on a delay. I don't know. I can't really control it. We can just hang out. Just hang out on a Christmas tree. Let me at least post it in my moderator chat. Hold on. Let me see if Patrick wants to join. Do I do a proper? All right. Jimmy says let's do a show. Shit. I'm doing a price show, but I'm up for a news show later today or tomorrow or Friday. Or you guys can join and we just hang. All right, I might also do something very dangerous. I might post the Zoom link right here in the chat. We only have 370 people watching and it's Christmas. So you guys can just join. Maybe, let me think about that for a minute. We'll do another one of these epic long streams. I should get a speaker though. I'm just in a good mood today. I don't know why, like the Christianity is still going on, but I'm in a good mood. It's Christmas. Yeah, I was thinking about doing a January 3rd all-day stream. The problem is I don't know where I'm gonna be. I'm probably gonna still be in Miami, but I don't exactly know where. Don't exactly know where I'm gonna be. People are saying not a good idea. I don't know if I want to spend the whole day on Jan 3rd. Okay, I might do it. I might do it. Let me talk to a few friends. What happened to the girl you used to do Bitcoin morning briefs with? She's the CEO of Valkyrie now. That's an ETF. Well, like she was supposed to be the first spot ETF, but another company beat her to it by like a week. So Leah Wald, and their ticker was going to be BTFD, but the SEC, the SEC figured it out like 10 days before the launch, and they made him change the ticker symbol. They wouldn't let him use BTFD because they found out what BTFD stood for. So I think she might have gotten a little bit of trouble with the SEC. But yeah, she is the CEO of a company called Valkyrie. All right, do I have anybody joining me yet? All right. Anyway, that's the summit. The summit's great. Summit's just great. Well, financial markets are closed today. Not much to talk about. S&P 500 is gonna rock over the next like 4 or 5 years, probably. I see Motorist has joined. Let's hey Motorist, let me stop the screen share here. Let's just chill with some people. Motorist, there he is. Where are you, brother?
Good morning, Tone. I'm in the Pacific Command right now, so I'm not in New Hampshire at the moment. So
Pacific Command. Oh, you're in the Socialist People's Republic of California.
Yeah, I'm in the Socialist District. That's correct. Just having a coffee.
You know what I read the other day? Your incredible, one of your incredible Congresswoman, Miss Pelosi, is shopping for a house in Florida because the moment she quits her job, she's getting out of the Marxist empire she helped build and moving over to Florida.
Well, I think the interesting thing about Nancy Pelosi is that it proves that in America, you don't have to be very smart to be rich and to be very powerful. She's rich and she's powerful, and she's honestly, she seems like she's dumb as a box of rocks. Regardless of her politics, putting her politics aside, just her intelligence.
No, it's all right. She's being replaced by AOC for the next 60 years. All right. Anyway, enough politics. Hey, I'm thinking of posting this Zoom link right in my public chat. Let's see which random people join us for questions.
Sure. Have them jump on. The more the merrier.
All right. They're going to help me moderate this. I don't have a... So I set up this as a meeting, not as a webinar. So this creates a little bit of a challenge because now I have no control of people's cameras. Guys, don't come on my show nude, please. Well, if you want my channel to like last, or will immediately.
So I was on another channel where they did this, where they did an open, like open phone lines basically, and random people did jump in, but it's not a problem as long as you keep them on a short leash. Just as long as you're able to just kick them out quickly, it's not an issue.
Yeah, am I able to kick them off quickly? Let me see. Yeah, I can remove you real quick. Well, Mechanic's going to join.
Oh, awesome.
All right, let's open it up to strangers. All right, guys.
Yeah, Mechanic's an awesome guy, man. I was happy to meet him in Mexico.
I just posted the public link to the Zoom in the chat. Come on in, join us, ask questions. It's like Spaces now. Maybe I'll do Spaces. Are you doing Christmas dinner tonight? Mechanic, Motorist, both freaking car things. All right, we got Henry joining. So is Melinda. Guys, you guys are literally going right on camera, right into a live stream. So, so you may choose not to turn on the camera. All right, try to stay muted.
Oh, wow, you got a lot of people. I wasn't expecting this many people to jump on.
Yeah, it's Christmas. It's people got time before Christmas Day. Let me see what the participants are. You guys are all right. On camera, right into the live feed. So, all right, guys, gotta mute. Everyone's gotta mute. If you're not speaking, gotta mute. We're gonna get a.
Make sure you mute the live stream because you guys have the live stream going in the background. Just make sure you mute it before you unmute.
All right. Yeah, you wanna.
Oh wow, you got a lot of people. I wasn't expecting this many people to jump on. Yeah, you guys stream.
Watching, right? Like if 10% of the people jump on it, that's already good. All right, guys, you gotta mute YouTube. All right, guys, you gotta mute YouTube, mute your mics. I'm gonna mute people.
Make sure you mute the live stream.
Yep. I'm muting people. All right. That's not Henry. Paul.
How you doing?
Muting people. Good. How are you, buddy?
Good, man. I'm good. Good.
Excellent. Tell us a little bit, very quick about yourself, where you're from, if you want to disclose it. What do you do? And if you have a question, go for it.
I'm from the UK. I'm literally just scooting through the charts from the Northwest in the UK. I'm a full-time trader, predominantly Bitcoin, other alts. I do a little bit of the legacy markets, not really much currency, but yeah, you know, I'm familiar with you. I just thought I was scooting through YouTube, just you popped up, I clicked on, you said join Zoom, and here we are.
Awesome. But you've seen my shows before, right?
I've come across you before, yeah, and I've seen your stuff before. Yeah.
That would have been funny if that was the first time you're ever on my channel.
Yeah, it's the first time. You mainly Td Sequential trading, yeah? Is that right? That's
yeah. So I use the MRI now. It's you know, it uses some of the math that is in the Td Sequential. I had a few. I ran into a little bit of a problem. Like I used to trade the Td Sequential back when I had a Bloomberg Terminal and all of these tools, and I had access to it. And then I no longer had a Bloomberg Terminal because I quit Wall Street. So how do I trade with Td Sequential without a Bloomberg Terminal? Because I didn't want to. I was too cheap to pay $3,000 a month. I'm sorry, that's more than like rent in Manhattan.
Yeah.
And so I had to write my own code. And TradingView has been out. Like TradingView allowed me to write my own Td Sequential, which I did. And Tom DeMark has not yet come out with his product. What do you call it? What's this product called? Symbolic, right? So that's all I had. But also, when I was writing the code and I was testing the code, Scribner, I'll get to you in a second. When I was writing the code for Td Sequential and testing the code, I added some of my own like alterations to it because of me trading it. And it didn't, like, I saw other things in it. So I added my slight changes to it. So at that point, it was no longer exactly like Td Sequential. So now calling it Td Sequential is problematic because it's not exactly Td Sequential. And if I don't give Tom DeMark credit, then people are going to accuse me of stealing his work. So I was in this like weird thing where I'm like, if I do one thing, I piss off Tom DeMark, and I do another thing, I piss off everybody else, thinking that I stole Tom DeMark's work. So I eventually ended up making my own MRI indicator. It uses some of the math. You can say it even uses the majority of the math of the Tom DeMark's work, but it is different. It doesn't use any of his intellectual property, trademark property. And I rebranded it, and now it's all kosher with DeMark, and it's kosher with my audience, I guess. But that has been one of my favorite tools for trading. Mr. Doug Scribner, whose house I was just staying in for a couple of days, always joining us in a row. How are you, buddy? Can you hear us?
Hey, can you hear me all right?
Barely. Your connection is kind of lagging. That's what happens when you're back
I
in
might
the
have lost you
basement.
here, going back and forth between my headsets.
Yeah, that's what happens.
If you
when
can hear
go
me,
back
I'm
to
just
mom's basement.
calling from my mom's basement in Minnesota.
Yep. We hear you, but your camera is really laggy. Like we hear you, but you're frozen.
I might have lost you.
We hear you, Doug, but your lips aren't moving. That's it.
Yeah, but he can't hear us, which is like this. So I'm gonna mute Doug. All right, Paul. Anything else to add before we're gonna open the floor? Hey guys, if you're able to like raise your hand, which may or may not be a feature here. This is why I should have set this up as a webinar.
I see Jimmy, not Jimmy Song, the other Jimmy in the audience. I think if it's the same Jimmy, I'm thinking.
Oh yeah, that's the Jimmy with an eye. Yeah, Jimmy. Yeah, we'll get Jimmy in here in a second. Paul, any closing comments? You can stick around, by the way. We're not kicking you off.
I'm interested. I think we're at a crucial point here. I think with Bitcoin, I'm interested to see what other people have got to say. But I think, breaking this 52 level, we either swing fail it, we hit it and we zoom back down. Obviously, we go back up. But I think this obviously a crucial point. But whether there's enough volume in the markets over the holidays to do that, or whether some whales take advantage of the lack of liquidity, but I don't know. We'll see. It'll be interesting. It's going to be an interesting few days, I think. Christmas.
So are you? So give us your predictions, right? Where is your outlook for end of year? I know end of year is only a week away. So do you think it'll be higher or lower than current price at end of year? And what do you see as the market trend for next year?
Personally, I'm expecting lower before a big move higher, and that sounds, I'm expecting that we swing failure this 52,000. We hit the 52, and then we go back down. We head back down lower, possibly. Personally, I'm thinking towards the, but just below the lows of where we've been, the low 40s, maybe 39. Ish, and then head back up. It really depends on this move and how we break through 52, in my opinion, the volume and where we go. But next year, if we do, my plan, if we do follow through that, I expect a lot higher next year. If we do break down and head back up, I think that's quite bullish, personally. That's my thoughts at the moment. That's what I'm planning for. But we'll see. I don't know. What about you guys? I'm sorry, I missed earlier in the show what you had to say. But
so I'm not really a price predictor guy. I did make one price prediction about 4 weeks ago, which turned out to be wrong. I said that the Bitcoin was going to hit 100K, or I said we were going to rise up significantly. This is back when we were like at around, I think, 65 or something. And I was completely wrong. And the reason why I made this prediction was because I was getting back channel people contacting me looking for Bitcoin. And to me, that's kind of a signal that the price is about to rise. People are like hassling me like, hey, Patrick, you got Bitcoin, trying to buy Bitcoin from me in person. To me, that's a signal that the price is about to go. But that didn't pan out. I was getting the signal, but the price didn't pump like I expected it to.
Yeah, interesting. And what about you, Tom? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I'm kind of puzzled into year end. I don't think what it does here at year end is going to be all that much. I think that $53,000 zone is going to be very challenging to cross. So I do see us rallying into this $53,000 to $55,000 zone, then getting rejected at that zone. Now, based on my Consensio chart, I may even already be in some long trades as that's happening. Because I don't know what's going to happen. It'll be a 50-50 shot at breaking that zone. So I'd rather be 50% in the market if it's a 50-50 chance of breaking 53 to 55. I'm leaning to a pullback, and then that pullback should only go down to 50K. If we go from 55K to 50K and then reverse at 50K, I will be very bullish that we will hit 125 next year.
Yeah, I mean, long term, I'm bullish. I agree with you. Longer term, but I think where we go from here is the deciding factor, I think.
Yeah. Hey, Patrick, can you keep an eye on? It's hard for me to manage the giant Zoom and also keep an eye on the live chat. So just keep an eye on the live chat for me. And I have another super chat. Thank you so much, Monkey Nut. Hey, Merry Christmas to you as well, if you wrote something in Russian. Bullish New Year. Yes, definitely a bullish New Year. All right, we got a lot of people. Go ahead and unmute if you would like to say something, but don't say anything yet. Let me call on you. So, because a couple of people will unmute at the same time. We do have people also posting in the chat. Magus, Merry Christmas to you as well. Right, close the chat there. All right. So anyone else want to say something? I know you guys joined, right? But if you guys are joining but not speaking, that's not very useful.
Well, it looks like Dre wants to speak, but
Dre.
do you want to talk to Jimmy first, or do you want to go to Dre first?
No, Jimmy's not unmuting, so.
All right, y'all hear me?
Dre, floor is yours. Paul, I'm gonna mute you. And Dre, go ahead. What's up?
Yeah.
Man?
What's up, man? Yeah, I've been watching you for a long time, man. I've got little experience in trading. You know, I had a lot more Bitcoin before. I think everybody's got that story, but I mean, like I'm here to.
Dre,
why did Dre just muted yourself?
DCA stuff. But I did want to know what you guys think about like BlockFi and like the Fold app and all that. I mean, are you guys? I mean, I find that that's like a good way to introduce people into like stacking sats and getting Bitcoin and kind of just like hodling for on the long term just by spending money that you would have spent on bills and everything else anyway.
Yeah, so I always get BlockFi and Fold confused as well, but they're very, very different. So BlockFi is like a huge company that mostly deals with loans and lending. And Fold is like a cashback app, right? Like I haven't used either. Motorist, you got any advice on those? Look, I think you can use Fold to acquire some sats as well, right? Or is it also mostly for spending?
So I've used Fold a little bit. I'm not a big time Fold user. I've used it a couple of times, but it seems like a really good company. I know you got the founder of Fold coming to speak at Unconfiscatable, Will Reeves. So and a lot of people really like Fold because it uses Lightning. So if you've kind of been dragging your feet, if you haven't used Lightning, if you start to use Fold, you'll kind of be forced to use Lightning because they only take Lightning sats. If I'm remembering correctly, you can buy if you're living on, say, Bitcoin only, or if you want to spend some of your sats at a store or something, or you can actually buy like gift cards with it and you get sats back. And if you sign up with your email, they give you the opportunity to kind of spin a wheel where you could like win like a full Bitcoin. Every now and again, I see on Twitter that somebody won a full Bitcoin by spinning the wheel at Fold, and I get super jealous. But and I think Fold said they were going to come out with a debit card, but it's been a long time and they still haven't come out with it. So we don't know if, what's the status with that. BlockFi, a lot of people were talking about BlockFi when I joined, Clubhouse like a year ago. And I kind of started looking into this company. I logged into BlockFi and I'm like, I would never do business with this company. And like, sorry, if they're a sponsor of yours, Tone, I'm sorry, but I'm like, I would never do business. I saw every single shitcoin you could imagine on their website. And I'm like, I don't want anything to do with a company that pushes all these shitcoins. So I would be very careful of BlockFi. If you are going to use BlockFi, I don't recommend you put more than a small percentage of your HODL on there. I wouldn't recommend putting all your Bitcoin on there because be very careful with BlockFi. That's all I'll say. If you're gonna use it, put a very small percentage of your money on BlockFi.
Yeah, no, BlockFi is not a sponsor of my conference, and we're very careful about our sponsors. We do try to keep the event shitcoin free, though the Scammy Awards are open to any sponsor, especially the shitcoins that are nominated and winning some of the awards. They are very welcome to sponsor the Scammy Awards. Yeah, this is one of the reasons why I'm not that familiar with BlockFi. Is because of the altcoin, angle there. Mechanic, thank you for joining us. I opened up the the stream to everyone. Are you also in a robe? Are you joining Doug Scribner?
Yeah.
Robe. Oh man, you're back in your studio, dude. I thought you got out of that communist empire. What's going on?
We got stuck, man. There was a
Shit,
mix
you're
up.
still there?
Yeah,
Why did I think you finally made it out? God damn it.
because we did have the plan to. It's okay. Like we'll figure it out. But no, we got stuck. WestJet, an airline, wouldn't let us on the plane because Joyce's test hadn't come back yet, so we couldn't prove a negative test on the last day in which a negative test is sufficient to get on an airplane. So
Oh boy.
yeah, but it's all right. Like honestly, I'm not particularly concerned about it. I was furious the day it happened. Just the human beings that would sit there and they know what they're doing. They're like, yeah, we're not gonna let you on this flight. I'm like, okay, so you know what that means, right? And this is the last plane out of Canada that goes to Mexico the week that exists. Like everything else, if I wanted to book another emergency flight on this last possible day, it's to America, and we can't go to America for the same reason, right? So, you know, I was like, so you know what you're doing? You're trapping us in Canada potentially forever. Like I will find a way around it, but not everyone else has the means I do. So I'm like, you could very well be just you putting someone on the path to ending up in a gulag here, and you can't just be ignorant about it. I was telling them about the Nuremberg Code, and they were laughing at me. I'm like, what do you think happens? Do you think that if the whole thing goes the way we think it's going to go with Nuremberg 2.0, do you think it's the CEO of the company that's going to get in trouble? Of course not. Of course, they'll pass the buck to all the low-level employees that enforce this shit. So you're going to be the one on the line for all this stuff. And I agree with what Peter Todd said the other day. Like if you're a doctor and you're administering vaccines to people now, you know that these people getting it are only getting it because they're being forced to get it. So you're gonna end up, and you do belong. You at the very least should lose your medical license. But more to the point, you should go to jail if you're giving vaccines to people now after they've refused to have it for over a year. You belong in jail. You're not a doctor. You know you're giving people medicine they don't want.
Let's try
A
not to
real
bad
quick
light.
comment regarding mechanic. I finally watched your video on toxic maximism a couple days ago. So really good video. So everyone go to Mechanic's YouTube channel. Watch that video. It's just over an hour, but it's well worth it. I mean, if you really want to, you can watch it at 2x speed, but it's worth it to watch at regular speed too.
Well, thanks.
Yeah,
man.
no, I still haven't seen that as well. But yeah, speaking of doctors, right? So I had a friend I was hanging out with, and she's from Germany, and she had COVID. Legitimately had COVID like a few months ago, and she went to a doctor in Germany, and the doctor was like, "Absolutely not. You should not even consider getting a vaccine for at least 6 months because you just had COVID." So he was very adamant that she should not even consider it. And then, like a few weeks later, she went to a different doctor because she needed just a quick prescription for something, and she knew this other doctor, this Asian doctor, also in the same town, Germany. He's a very, very loose on writing prescriptions to stuff. And that doctor was like, very adamant she must have the vaccine. This is the difference in opinion, right? Like he's like, what do you mean you're not vaccinated? You must have the vaccine. He's like, I just gave it to a pregnant woman yesterday. He's like, that doctor was pushing it on everyone.
Fucked up, man.
Hey, I got a question.
Uh-huh.
I've always been, can you guys hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, mechanic, we've never met before, but you've got these keyboards behind you, and I've been a keyboard player since age 10. I've been in bands all my life, toured the US.
70 years ago.
Exactly. How dare you? But anyway, curious what you got back there.
So that's a Nord Stage 1.
Oh, love it.
Yeah, it's great. I love Nords. When they came out, I wanted one. I was still a broke teenager back then. And I managed to find one. I think it cost me £1,400, which at the time was like the end. Like that was all the money I had. But I got that thing, and it's just beautiful. Wow. I don't make a lot of music these days, I'm sorry to say, but I recently just got back into it again. So that's been kind of nice, actually. Yeah, nice to meet you.
It's like we're in the same room together.
Yeah.
Let's try to jam or something, or get some. At my house in Miami. I got these hippies that come over with guitars, and I got a keyboard there, and we just have a good time playing. Tone, you missed that hippie party.
Yeah, he's not kidding. I was just there. They did a whole sound healing thing. I was just there for that the other day.
Oh yeah, I was jealous, man. I wanted to try that.
Yeah, next time, if you ever make it back to the States, which is a bit of an issue. Yeah, I was looking forward to hanging out with you and Jimmy. Speaking of Jimmy, Jimmy G, go ahead and unmute, buddy. I thought Mechanic was going to be down there. I don't want to say your location. I don't want to dox it, but I am heading down into your parts of Mexico after New Year's. I was hoping to chill with Mechanic, but it doesn't look like he'll be there.
Yeah, he's definitely in colder climate than I am right now.
How's it going? You want to give us a little update on what you got brewing down there? I don't know how.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's
me and Surfer Jim are planning to come and visit and do a walkthrough.
Well, I'm still trying to get the house sold. I had people looking at the other day, and it's my house in Cabo. I've got it up for sale and I'm trying to get rid of it. And then working on water at the ranch, and had a diviner out there, which is a kick. I don't know if you people know what that is, where you go out with the rods and test for water. I learned it as a young man, but I brought a guy out that's an old timer. It's hard to find people that know those arts. And that, again, is part of the reason I want to do the ranch school ideas, because it's to teach people these kinds of things. But it was a kick to go out. We went to the well, which is actually in the picture behind me, right behind my head is where the well is on the property. And the well is not centered on what he considers to be the majority of the water. It's about 100 feet off center. But he says it's an incredible amount of water under the property, which is what the soundings already showed us. So it's just, it's a matter of pulling it up. It's about 20 meters, 25 meters down. So I'm dealing with liquid gold, as we call it, in the desert, trying to get water. And once that's done, as you know, then it's time to, I got to finalize some paperwork in the beginning of the year, and then we can start discussing how to divide up the ranch and start making it happen.
Yeah, so the picture behind Jimmy in the background, let me go back to our gallery here. The picture behind Jimmy, it is a picture that he's using. You're not, but it is a picture of his property. He's got a bunch of acres out there, 1,000 acres, kind of secluded, that is going to be built out as a bit of a Bitcoin citadel. Jimmy is a big fan of Bitcoin, and the first thing being built would be like a little conference center and like the early stages of a potential like hotel style so people can crash. And then really nice villas. We're going to start building them out. The problem is, of course, water, which Jimmy is solving.
Yeah. Once we get, there's a few items that need to get checked off the list that we can then divide it up. I know how we want to do it. But again, one of the biggest things that you're going to hear me start talking about, and you'll see me on podcast, I'm going to start a podcast with a gentleman out of Dan out of Yucatan, who's a Mexican born, but just came back from Europe. And the reason we want to do this podcast is not just for Citadel. We prefer to look at schools, because really they are. This will be a school, and I believe most of them should be, in the sense that we have to teach. And in any case, in doing this with Dan, is bilingual is what we're trying to do, because what we see is a need for teaching the content that has already exists, like what you already have, what many of the people already put out. The Spanish people don't have that much content. And they also, a lot of the content that gets translated to them is word for word, which isn't really accurate. And so what we're trying to do is a bilingual show where English speaking people can learn some Spanish, and the Spanish people can learn about Bitcoin and the more advanced parts of what relate to them in Latin America. So we're, right now working on taking some of the content and translating it, but not word for word. It's for the concepts. Because what's happening, I don't know if you people are aware of this, but like Mechanic being stuck in Canada, the woman that looked at my house yesterday is the 7th person in a month to look at my house from Canada. I mean, wow. Every single, they're escaping. I mean, they put it that way. And the thing that bothers me about that is, sadly enough, a lot of people move to Mexico because they want to, and they plan for the adventure. Okay, and they expect it, they want it. That's not what's happening. People are escaping to Mexico from all over the world, and they weren't really planning on being here a month ago or 2 months ago. Mexico can be pretty rough for people that aren't prepared for what they're getting into. And also, Mexico is a huge country, and a lot of people don't seem to understand that, hey, just because this area isn't what you want doesn't mean it isn't available. You just might be in the wrong place in Mexico. But being forced to come into a country to escape another is different than voluntarily wanting to move to a country. And so these people are very unprepared in many cases. And it's an issue. It's an issue for the fact of Spanish, for their lack of understanding the culture. Like I said, I know a lot of people have moved to Mexico voluntarily and didn't find it to be so easy. Imagine those that are coming here because they have to, not because they want to. So the world's really.
What are some of the hard things that happen what should you?
Well, yeah, I mean, well, for instance, people think, but a lot of people, I'll tell you right now, and it's kind of it goes against my one to sell my house, but for instance, the tourist areas are not necessarily, which are so popular to go to. Everybody, oh, they're wonderful, they're beautiful and sunny, like in Cabo here. But you also have to understand they're not generating the income that they would before pre-COVID. And so now, without that income, the cartels are taking over in Cancun, in Tulum. There's been errors, there's been problems. And they didn't used to have problems in those areas because they had enough money coming in. They could pay their police and pay their politicians enough. And, the corruption couldn't get a foothold. In many parts of Mexico, there's not a problem at all. You'll never know there was a cartel or anything like that exists. But you have to know where you're going. It's just like, I believe Americans have a real false sense of security in their city. They think that they're safe in Detroit or Chicago. Bullshit. And just drunk drivers will take you out. Much higher chance of dying from drunk driving than many things on this planet, but they don't think twice about that. That they're afraid. Like I am a windsurfer, and for years people would be scared to sail in Oregon because they're afraid of sharks. I'm like, but you're not afraid of the highway that you drove to get here. Misaligned risk. I mean, this is why people are such horrible traders. They don't understand risk and they don't understand how to value. It's obvious in life. I mean, look at how people come to the ranch and they're afraid of scorpions and snakes and mountain lions and bobcats. None of those are out to get you. Okay. But the city you just came from, most likely, there are plenty of humans that are out to do you harm if they had a chance. So, it's like you have to have an open mind, as what somebody put it, and Mexico can be a wonderful place for people, but understand if you're looking for find there's lots of problems in Mexico, as there is in any big country and many of the big cities. But rural parts of Mexico are like rural America. I lived in rural America for part of COVID. You wouldn't even know COVID existed where I was at. Or mask to walk in the store.
Adrian, people are asking where the ranch is. We're gonna say the general area. It's down in South Baja. We're not gonna disclose the exact.
No, it's Baja
location.
Sur, and there's a lot of Baja Sur. There's a lot of rural areas in Baja Sur, but and the beauty of it is, and again, the ranch area is not for everybody. I've had people come down and look at it. And they go, "Oh, this is nice, but I want to be in the forest, or I want to be here. I want to, there's a lot of Baja to look at, and not just Baja, a lot of Mexico." The point being is, I just really am surprised that I dealt in relocating people for years down here. I had a website. You can find it today. I have nothing to do with it anymore, but it was BajaInsider.com. And we had 3,000 pages of information on helping people understand the culture of Mexico, what it's like with English-speaking people to move here, how to move here, not just be tourists, but to be residents, and how to get your resident permit and how to do everything properly. So I've been, people are amazed at all what I know about the laws and stuff. I've been doing this for 30 years, relocating and consulting for people. I get people asking me all the time. I'm on Freedom Cells. I don't know if you're aware of the Freedom Network and Freedom Cell Network and Private Cities. There's many of these Telegram groups. And thousands.
That's John Bush's idea thing, right?
Yeah,
John Bush
is one of them.
Concept. Yeah.
That Derek Bose and John Bush are the Freedom Cell guys. Then there's Private Cities. That's Peter Young. It just goes on. And I end up in these because people know of me. They know I'm in Mexico, so they throw, hey, you want to look at this? And it's thousands of people that are literally, not all of them are even looking. They're already here. They're a lot of them are headed to Costa Rica. A lot of them are headed to other parts of Central America and South America. Mexico, and get this, from what I can evaluate, it's the freest country on the planet right now. Now,
I got a lot of friends in Acapulco area and doing exactly what you're doing. So there are other groups. You probably know them. Actually.
There's I know of at least eight citadels going in, and I again like to call them schools or communities because citadel sounds so aggressive, like you're training, something to fight against or something. But no, they're Vallarta outside of Zihuatanejo. There's tons of them going in, and it's because they were already doing this. Many of those were already in place or going in place not before COVID, but before this whole issue of people escaping Canada. Now it's really a lot of people are coming here that don't know what to do and aren't prepared to work, don't have can work online or can, bring their business with them. And it's what people don't see is I tell the Mexicans, watch this. We're going to end up with an illegal foreigner problem. We've had it before. And, they always bitch about the illegal Mexicans in America. Well, now we're going to have illegal Americans and Canadians all over Mexico. And it's mostly not because they want to be, but because it's not easy for them to get a consulate meeting before they fly out.
Yeah,
they didn't go to the consulate first.
It's impossible. I've rung the consulate in Vancouver so many times and left a message after message. It's like I don't know who I need to give a backhander to get a fucking response from these people. Like,
well, and I have people that are in Costa Rica. They went to El Salvador. They went to Costa Rica, Mexico embassies to see. Nope, can't do it there. You have to go to America. And it's like, oh my God. So I was hoping that, maybe if people are here, they could go to somewhere in South America, like El Salvador, and go to the Mexican embassy and do their immigration, because you have to do it. You have to begin the process outside the country. You can't wait until you're in Mexico.
okay, as long as it doesn't have to be like, as long as I don't have to go to the UK or Canada again, that would be fine. I don't mind if I go.
That's why we're trying to find where. This is why we're trying to find out if you can go to El Salvador without a test or somewhere else. But right now, so far, we haven't found that other country.
So what about El Salvador itself, man? We got Max and Stacy. They're becoming El Salvadoran citizens, right? Like, when does this become a realistic option? Because they're doing all the right things at the moment, El Salvador, but it's still homicide.
Well, okay, and I'll tell you this. I was down in El Salvador when they were in El Zante. I'm going to probably go back at the end of the month after Tone and Surfer Jeremy here. Hopefully we make a trip down if they want to. I want to. But the point is that I like it down there. But is it an option to Baja? And I could easily sell the ranch, move down there. No, I have more freedom here in Mexico. The thing is, Mexico just legalized the growing of hemp and cannabis, and they've made it very clear. It's not the president that is saying you're not going to have a vax mandate. Everybody thinks he's got such ball. He doesn't have balls. Obrador's a puppet, like most presidents. The reality is, it's their Supreme Court that has ruled repeatedly it's in violation of human rights. So they have a Supreme Court and a Constitution that they live by. Novel idea, no? America seems to have thrown their Constitution to the wind. I mean, they don't use it for shit. They violate it all day long, as far as I'm concerned, but not in Mexico. They stick to it. And this is why, for instance, the fideicomiso is okay. You can't own land as a foreigner anywhere in Baja, both states of the peninsula, or anywhere on the coast. The reason for this is protection of their national, their sovereignty. Mexico has it in their constitution. No foreigner can own land on the coast. That's just in it. So they can't amend their constitution like we do so easily in America. It's a really hard thing to do, to change their constitution. So what they've done is they basically come up with a vehicle to get around it called the fideicomiso. And it's what we would equate to a trust deed, but it allows foreigners to buy in the fideicomiso, and the bank holds the title in your name, and there's nothing they can do with it other than hold it for you. And it just allows you to be a landowner, and that's one way to do it. But again, it's because they couldn't modify their constitution. They don't amend their constitution like we do. And the amazing thing is, the Supreme Court of Mexico has repeatedly said that you cannot make a plant illegal to grow, eat, or use in any way. So they basically are saying you can't make all these things illegal that other countries are making illegal.
Jimmy, I have a question for you, Jimmy.
Sure.
Oh gosh, and now it's escaping me. It's about ownership, I think. I'm drawing a blank. See, Tone is right. I'm 75, 70, 80 years old right now. My brain just turned to mush.
I don't want to, there are a couple of other people joined. I want to give them a chance to speak, and we'll probably get back to talking about Mexico in a minute.
Yeah.
But I think it's crazy how all these like US states like New York and California and Chicago and countries like Canada, like your people are fleeing and they don't get it. Like your population is running away. And
your tax base,
they don't get it.
That's what amazes me, is their tax base is leaving them.
How do you not understand that your policies are garbage when everyone is fleeing?
I know.
Hey, and in the chat, Larry P says that he's Canadian and he made it to Playa del Carmen. I don't know if we want to let him elaborate on that or not.
Well, it's in the chat, right? In which chat? In the Zoom chat?
Zoom
or
chat.
in the...
Zoom
Okay.
chat.
Yeah, Larry, you want to say a few words about escaping Canada and going to Mexico before we will go on to Crypto Geezer and also HFSI?
Hello?
He's AFK. There he is.
Hey, Larry.
I thought I was a
Hey.
crypto geezer.
Well, I made it out just in time. PCR test, didn't want to do it, but I did it. I'm in Mexico and I don't know where to go. I don't like Playa del Carmen. It sucks here. Everybody's got masks on. You can't go in a store without a mask. I don't know.
Yeah, I think if you can find, or if any person in Mexico that's bugged out, like all of us are doing, if they can find a place where the Mexican, like the normal population, isn't terrified of COVID, that would be what I want to see the most. Because everywhere I go, every driver, every waiter, they're all wearing masks and they want to. It's not like they're actually scared of COVID. So I want to go to a place with some based Mexicans. That would be the dream, I think.
It's going to be hard to find. And I explained this to you when you were down here, is the fact that they've made it the fiscali's fine and the police fine them. It's not a matter of do they really believe in the mask, it's they don't want to pay a fine for you walking into their store without a mask. And when you go in and back out without a mask on, somebody walked in behind you and fines them for having done that. And so a lot of this doesn't have to do with Mexicans really believing the mask. It's just that they don't want to pay the fines. So everybody joke, like you've seen this, we throw them on walking into the restaurant and take them off as you walk in. A lot of Cabo, they're not even wearing them anymore. The tourists don't wear them. They walk into the restaurants, nobody says anything. But the majority of Mexicans, even out at the ranch, I mean, I'll see people out in the middle of nowhere with a mask on. And I say, you don't need that. They're like, really? And they're very mobile. They're very easy to convince. And they're like, okay. And they take it off. But I mean, it's like they're doing it because they were told to. They're very easy and accepting. They don't fight back real quickly. But at the same time, it's not that they're in 100% agreement, because if you talk to them, they don't believe in the vax. They don't believe in COVID as much as people think. And I go, then why do you do this? Well, just easier. You see, they go with the easiest way.
Yeah, it's crazy in like these, more developing countries where the police are using this as a form of revenue. And that's how they can get their population to wear all these masks. This is where Florida is probably the best. In Florida, you don't have to wear it anywhere. Like if someone tells you to put a mask on, you can actually just, New York is kind of similar, where you can just tell people no, and just keep walking. Well, like nothing's going to happen.
Yeah. We have a lot's happening more and more in Cabo and more in a lot of places where the tourists are, but like the big box stores, like going into Walmart or Home Depot, they insist that you do it. And they know, you say this is bullshit, and they go, yeah, but you got to do it. But then others will say, no, it's not. There are Mexicans, no doubt, that they're completely convinced that COVID is out there and they're wearing those masks because they really believe it. But I've asked so many, and I would say the majority of my friends that are Mexican don't buy it. They just are doing it because they don't want to get fined. And they're aware that wearing the same mask for 6 months is a joke.
That's a good point, because every single waiter and people like that always have it below the nose, like barely hanging below the lips, even. Like, so the whole thing.
They're not doing it from fear. They're doing it because they just don't want to get fined, or because they want to keep their job, or it's just the easiest way to go without protesting.
Well, see, this is the thing. Like, I was talking to Giacomo about this. Like, do you want to live in a country with good laws that do you want to live in a country with decent laws that everyone unfortunately obeys unquestioningly, or do you want to live in a country with ridiculous, stupid laws that no one pays any attention to? What is actually better? Because we were comparing Italy and Switzerland, and it's like the laws in Italy are insane right now, but it's Italy, so no one actually enforces anything. You can't have a job if you don't have the vax pass, but guess what? Most employment is done off the books anyway, cash. Like, right. It doesn't matter. So, but then there's Switzerland, where the laws are they were a lot better. I think it's got a lot worse these last few weeks and months, but the point is, they voted for them by referendum. They want those laws, and everyone obeys them. I think Giacomo was saying he thinks Switzerland is actually probably better for at least it was then, though I don't know now.
All right, guys, let's get a couple of new people on here. Crypto Geezer, you joined first, and then we have HFSI. Go ahead. Do you have any comments, any questions? Go for it. But if you like, share with us where you're from and what you do.
Cool, thanks, Tone. Hi, everyone. I'm actually here in Cape Town, South Africa. And just following on from your conversation about this COVID issue, I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist, I'll admit that, right? But, I just examined things in a lot of detail. And when this new Omicron variant came out, it was so clear to see that the hysteria that was generated in the West. Now, you would think that the origin was in Cape Town, that the people here would be more terrified than anywhere else. But they were calm. The whole situation here was calm. There was no hysteria like there was in the West. And it was so clear that it was like a final push or a final drive to get those vaccine dollars in the bank. That's my conclusion, because there should have been more panic here than anywhere else in the world, right?
Well, from what I heard, like South Africa got like blamed for having Omicron. Meanwhile, it was your scientists that happened to discover it. Like it didn't have anything to do with South Africa. Omicron is now around the world. It didn't start in South Africa. Your scientists just found it, and it's incredible. Like I really thought they would wait another year before convincing everyone that the common cold is now COVID, which I always said that it was, because that's what coronavirus always meant. It meant the common cold. And now, like, it's a joke. The symptoms of Omicron, well, they're like, well, you don't really know if it's the common cold or Omicron unless you get tested. That was literally the headline.
Exactly. And the other thing is that the scientists here, the same people who discovered it or announced it, were the first people as well to say it's not as lethal as any other variant. And for some reason or other, the media in the West just kind of ignored that and went on a rampage to kind of ramp up fear and terrify everyone. It was so blatant. I mean, it can't get more obvious than that, in my opinion, anyway.
It's a fucking scam. The whole thing is a joke. I can't believe. Sorry, what?
I saw this documentary the other day. It was, I got to tweet it out or something. And it was like just a guy doing a bunch of research. And he was just pointing out how it's like 3 or 4 financial companies like own everything. And talked about the media, and it's basically BlackRock and a couple of others. But the interesting thing that he said was, in that it was like a 1 hour long movie thing. But the most interesting thing that I've walked away found fascinating is that there was like apparently 2 companies that write the script for all the news media. So like, you know how you think that Fox News is different than say CNN? They're really not, because they actually rely on the same company for their prompter script. And that's why you hear the different newscasters repeat the same lines on different channels. Now, when you have your opinion people, you know, like Tucker Carlson has his opinions, he's not reading from a teleprompter, right? But the news side, the news people are reading from a teleprompter. And there is literally like one company that is writing everything for you to read from a teleprompter.
It's retarded, man. Like you know that old adage, like be an expert on something and then read the newspaper article on that thing and be like, what? They have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. Then turn the page and be like, oh, okay. So it turns out 73% of people with this new variant have this. It's like, what? How are you going to make that disconnect? They don't know anything. They don't know shit about fuck. That is fucking
the truth. But Tone, I just want to slip in there. I used to trade in the stock market in the 90s, right? And when I made a lot of money then, but when the tech crash happened, I lost everything. I didn't trade for many, many years. And then when this whole thing, COVID thing started in March 2020, because of my conspiracy theories and my thinking, I knew it was like definite overreaction. And they did it with 9/11 as well. Stock market tanked so severely. And then it's an opportunity to buy. And that's what I did. I actually borrowed money because I didn't have it at the time. And that's when I discovered your channel. And that's when I started to watch your channels on a daily basis, or when you did them, which was mostly on a daily basis. You used to do a lot of traditional market analysis. And you have no idea, and I'll be open with you on this, how much it helped me. I never used charting before. That's crazy to think now, right? And all the analysis. But I have to admit, in front of everyone here, your close friends, you've made me so much money since COVID in terms of certain trades that I have to share that with you, and thank you for that insight. You're giving this information for free, very much appreciated. But in all honesty, some of your analysis actually made me quite good profits, I have to say. So thank you very much for everything, and long may it continue.
Love hearing these stories. That's great. I
Yeah,
love Cape
it's
Town,
good.
by the way. I almost got stuck there for the
I know.
entire.
I came to see you at that. There was a Bitcoin meeting in Cape Town in the middle of
The
town.
meetup, yeah, the meetup in Cape Town.
Yeah,
That was cool.
yeah. Yeah, very good. That was the first time I met you there. So thanks also for that as well. Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool. I'll free
right,
up now
cool.
for someone else who wants to say something. I'll mute myself. Okay. Thanks a
Yeah,
lot, guys.
let's
Have a nice Christmas.
Let's go over to HF. No, thanks for joining us, man. HF, say a few comments. Tell us where you're from, if you like to share, and what you do.
Well, I was a hospital engineer, but I figured out what was going on last year and made my escape to Mexico, crossed the line on August 1st, stuck along the coast for a little bit and ended up in the Lake Chapala area. But what I'm hearing on some of the PV groups or the groups that I'm following on Twitter is that Jalisco may be kind of cracking down and becoming more like the US and Canada. So my question was more directed at Jimmy to make contact with Jimmy, but he did respond to me in the chat, and I'm going to reach out to him through that forum. But I just wanted to comment that what I've noticed in Lake Chapala area is that most of the locals do not care. They're kind of doing the mass by under protest, under enforcement. But what I am experiencing is here, there's a lot of expats. I believe they're saying there's around 14,000 expats in the area. And most of them are what I would consider older than myself. I'm not a spring chicken myself. I stepped out a few years early, but I've even had people approach me and give me a hard time about not wearing masks. And I politely told them to keep on walking. But that was just my experience in Mexico so far. And I am extremely interested in any location that is building a ranch community or any type of opportunity that is going to be mask-free, vax-free. And so, Jimmy, I only caught a little bit about your water search. I hope you find the water and get the water rights, because I am definitely interested. And I did get your chat. I will be reaching out to you via Twitter. Yeah. And on a last note, Tone, thank you for everything that you have taught me about trading. I picked up your MRI about a year ago, and I've been successful with my IRA trading account using that tool.
Very nice. Awesome.
That's all I had. Most of my questions were already answered.
You know the "have fun staying poor" meme?
Sorry?
Do you know the meme in the Bitcoin world of "have fun staying poor"? It's like,
yes.
Well, so I'm feeling like you noped out of Canada to Mexico and wanted to tell everyone that stayed, have fun staying incarcerated, and that's why you're HFSI. But I'm just guessing there.
No, actually, that's a side business that I'm still doing. It's a teaching business. I should have changed that before I got on here. My name's Brian, by the way. And I didn't escape. Well, I escaped from Canada when I was 6, but I escaped from California 4 months ago.
California is it's the best part of the earth, man. It's sunshine, beautiful, and the politics is just so poisonous there that it's just ruined it, man. Like, it's so stupid. Like, if I could just be anywhere on the planet, like, without humans fucking stuff up, I would just drive 1,000 miles south right now and just be in the absolute bliss, eating avocados and oranges and just whatever. Just, oh my God, California. Love it.
It
dude.
was beautiful. I mean, I spent a lot of time in the Los Angeles area, but on the tail end of my career, I ended up in the Monterey area. And I can tell you, going through Big Sur and those areas like that, that's just some beautiful country. But, there's a price you pay. And taxes is one of them. I looked on, my stupid Facebook here recently, and I saw $6.01 a gallon in La Puente at one of the local gas stations. And that's just ludicrous. I mean, I think it was $3.80 when I left. So that has happened in a matter of 4 months.
You know what's funny is that's still not as much as we pay in the UK. Like, I think in the UK it's almost £2 a litre, which is, let's say as £8. That would be £8 a gallon. So like you're talking $13-14 a gallon.
Yeah, here I don't know what Jimmy's paying, but I noticed that when I was in PV, it was running between 20 and 21 pesos per liter. Now I'm seeing it running between 21 and 22. And, you know, the dollar is supposedly strong here recently. So that's about $1 per liter.
Yeah,
Not
it's
too
about
bad in
$4 a
Mexico.
gallon. It hasn't gone up much. Yeah,
No.
the COVID really, and lecture, Bitcoin mechanic gonna love this. So I go to my butcher the other day and I keep telling everybody prices haven't gone up. And I've been paying 245 pesos a kilo for ribeye. And I'm a carnivore. That's all I eat. And so it's a hell of a deal. That's like $5 a pound. So I go in the other day and I buy my ribeye and it's 350 pesos a kilo. I'm like, what happened? So my secretary calls because I didn't catch it till I got home. And I went, wait a minute. And this really went up a lot. Turns out for the last 2.5 years that I've been carnivore, they've been charging me their wholesale price for the meat, the price they pay for it. And they've never made money. And I'm like, what? And it turns out that they normally sell the ribeye through their wholesale to the restaurants and not so much to the butcher. I'm the only guy walking in to buy ribeye in the butcher. And so they had it on their computer wrong and on their registers for 2.5 years. They haven't made a single profit on my buying their meat.
Man, I think I got in on that too, Jimmy. I think when I was
I know my brother, everybody, all the gringos that bought there, because I took all these foreigners there to buy their ribeye because it was such a deal. And I feel guilty, but they're laughing. They're like, it's our fault. We didn't charge you. But I mean, like, are you kidding? It went up 30% on me almost, or, you know, it's up to 350, which really isn't that bad. The peso also now is about 21, 22. It's making a move, and there's a call for it to go to 26 this year, which are pretty accurate calls.
Yeah, Jimmy, those ribeyes were freaking excellent, man. They're awesome.
So this is the thing. See, El Salvador, I like it, and other parts of Central America and South America, but man, to get the meat, to get the less expensive lifestyle, to get rural life, just so many pluses in Mexico now. And then they go legalize cannabis, then they legalized hemp. Now they're saying there won't be a vax mandate. They allow me to have guns for hunting on the ranch. I have more freedom here than I've had. I mean, I was a surfer as a kid in California. I grew up all over California surfing and you know, going down to the beach at 2 or 3 in the morning, having a bonfire and going surfing, you know, dawn patrol. That's illegal in the entire state. You can't surf. You can't be on the beach after 10 o'clock at night. Anywhere in California, you're like, what? Like, you made it. And do you realize it's illegal to capture rainwater in many states and many counties in America? I mean, it's like they've made the solutions illegal. For instance, I can bring a cow into my house in Cabo. Tone's been here. It's downtown. It's a city. And I could bring a cow in here. I could feed it. I could butcher it, clean it up, and sell it. And if I did it repeatedly, they'd probably say you should get a business license. But nobody's going to say I can't do it. And I've got chickens right behind me. My neighbors have. Everybody has them in the city. So you see, in Mexico, it's not illegal to have a garden. It's not illegal to sell your fruits and vegetables to people. All the solutions, we can do alternative building. Every type of home I can imagine, from straw bale to tire homes to ram earth to compressed block, everything you can imagine, to foam and outrageous, building installations here in Cabo. We have every type of building there is. So all the alternative ways to live off the grid, it's normal down here. Like living out at the ranch on solar and satellite internet, that's commonly done down here all over the place. So it makes it a lot easier. Like I'm talking untapped growth all the time. And I feel for those guys that are trying to do it in America because they've made butchering cattle illegal and sharing milk with their neighbor illegal, or selling your fruits and vegetables to your neighbor. It's like, how do you, Mexicans are putting little stores in their front yard all day long right now. They cut hair, they'll do nails, beauty salon. They pop up everywhere in the neighborhood. There's no rule saying you can't. It's a crisis,
And there's a farmer's market every day of the week in one of the areas around here where everybody sells their baked goods, their stuff. Yeah. We hardly cook.
Ranchers and farmers will sell you anything. I mean, that's what they do. You can go straight to the ranch, the farm. They'll sell it to you right there. There's no law saying they can't do that. That's crazy.
It's a great place. All right. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you getting me in.
Hey, did you guys connect, Jimmy? Did you guys connect?
I
I'll DM him. Thank you.
All right, perfect. All right, guys. Anyone else want to jump on and say something? We have a lot of people in here. Unmute and say a few words. Otherwise, we might be wrapping this up in the near future. Gary, I see you unmuted.
Yeah, I'd like to say something. Tone, can you hear me?
Yeah, go for it.
So little scenario. I'm in the States. I don't really necessarily want to say where. I got into Bitcoin about 2017. I had a friend, hey, you can run these computers and, make internet money. And I'm like, all right, so show me how to do this. And it kind of got me started in all this. Now I was mining, or still am mining, Ethereum, but I kind of started watching your stream and I was like more transformed into this Bitcoin maximalist. So I started taking profits. Now I kind of got lucky. So when I started, I like traded around like 0.14, ETH for Bitcoin. It was around like February 2018. And I just got really lucky on the timing of that. But for the most part, it's really hard to like kind of explain to somebody new the concept of Bitcoin. And you get so much of this, oh, it's $10,000. Oh, it's $40,000. Oh, it's, it's too expensive. And it's really hard to explain to somebody that if you wait long enough, like it's always going to be worth more. And it's not necessarily about the US dollar, of how much it's worth. You get to a point where you're not even you're trading everything in a Bitcoin pair. Like, so if you're looking to try to gain in altcoins, you're not, you shouldn't be looking at the United States dollar. You should be looking at where you're going to take your profits in Bitcoin. So, it's just really hard because a lot of people, you tell them about it and you want to help them, but you also can't. They can only help themselves. So it's just a really difficult thing trying to onboard somebody to it. And, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I got. I've had a lot of people when I started, I talked about it a lot at work. You get so much criticism and so much hate. And then something like this happens, I was buying at $3,000 and you get a lot of guys from work that they don't want to buy at $3,000, but then, it hits 60 and they're like, hey, how about this Bitcoin stuff? And it's like, well, if you would have maybe somewhat listened to me the whole time, you might have been able to dollar cost average. It's just a really hard thing. It's really hard. Family, friends, anybody. They don't want to listen. They don't want to change their lifestyle. It's a change of lifestyle. Dollar cost averaging.
Yeah, it's no, these are real challenges. I don't know if Mechanic wants to weigh in on this first.
You mean orange pilling people, your friends and family?
Both, right? It's trying to convince them to get into Bitcoin, and then the moment you do, they're always like, well, what about Ripple? And you're like, yeah, I don't want to deal with this.
I don't, like, you can't fix stupid, right? It's, if you got a 16-17-year-old and they want to go and do something really stupid, then you just kind of got to let them do it, and there's nothing you can do about it, really. Like, if people want to shitcoin, they just let them shitcoin. Like, there's no better lesson than, like, practice is always better than theory, right? So if you get burnt to shit buying a shitcoin, that's great. If you buy a bunch of Bitcoin and leave it on an exchange and the exchange goes bankrupt, like what happened to every Canadian I met, because they all used Quadriga and then Quadriga went tits up. So that's the best lesson you can have for not leaving Bitcoin on an exchange. You can read it in theory and you can learn it from people like me, where I'm like, don't leave coins on exchanges, don't buy shit coins. But if you you're not going to feel it viscerally unless you get actually burnt by a shit coin, unless you get actually. I always say that it was easier for people that got back in, got into Bitcoin in 2011, like I did. And, because the shitcoins were so bad back then that it was easy to not fall for it.
Totally agree.
Yeah,
totally agree.
It was,
Doug knows.
They were a joke. They were just stupid. Like,
all we had back then was IO coin, Namecoin, Peercoin, and there are a few other ones.
Namecoin is a legit project, though. Namecoin doesn't count as a shitcoin.
Right.
Namecoin, Peercoin, Feathercoin was coming out.
Feathercoin.
I have a story that's.
It was so funny because Feathercoin, all the Litecoiners would talk about Feathercoin in exactly the same way that Bitcoiners would talk about Litecoin. They're like, this is totally unnecessary. It doesn't need to exist. And it was exactly the same pitch, right? It was, oh, we do what Litecoin does, but just, we've changed all the parameters so it's even faster. And there's, I think instead of 84 million, it was like add another zero or something, or multiply by 4 again. I don't know what the idea was. But
I got a story that's so similar to Gary's. I have to say it. So I was at work, and I was telling some of my coworkers about Bitcoin, and I was telling one of them, and he was like, "Well, how much is a Bitcoin?" I said, "It's about $1,000 each." He's like, "Oh, fuck that." I'm like, "Well, it's going to be more later, so who cares if it's 1,000 now?" And then like a few months later, it was at 4,000, and I went to him like, "Hey, man, Bitcoin's at 4,000. I told you to buy it at 1,000." I'm like, "Did you buy it?" He's like, "Yeah, I did." I'm like, "Oh, okay, good for you." So I'm like, it's good. So I got through to someone. He did buy it, even if it wasn't at 1,000. He bought it a little bit higher. And he goes, I bought the Google Bitcoin. I didn't buy the. I'm like, what are you Google Bitcoin? What are you talking about? I don't even know what that is. I still to this day I still have no idea what he meant when he said he bought the Google Bitcoin, which is some other Bitcoin, not the regular Bitcoin, because he trusts Google more, I guess, because it's a centralized company. It was just bizarre.
Well, how many different fake forks of Bitcoin are there? Was there hundreds?
Well,
There's got to be.
The point is, you can never know how many there are, right? Which is why it was so absurd when the IRS was like, you owe taxes on any hard forks of Bitcoin, even if you don't realize it, even if you don't sell it. So if someone hard forks Bitcoin, you now owe taxes on that. And I'm like, well, the thing is, you could actually troll people by making just spam hard forks of Bitcoin all day, every day. You can do it. So
well, we saw it in the
but
fork wars.
They're not going to be worth any money. And that's what I said. Like what? Well, once I said there's a new perpetual hard forks, right? But each one is going to have diminishing returns. So that's why after like the fifth Bitcoin hard fork was like Bitcoin Gold, Bitcoin Diamond, and the Bitcoin Private, and then pretty much it died after that.
No, man, it was Bitcoin X and Bitcoin Super. I made
but they weren't worth anything. Like, it wasn't worth splitting them. Well, like you weren't going to make anything, right? So it just like diminishing returns went to zero real quick.
Yeah, it's true, but there was a good. I think I got like 9 forks in that were lucrative for me. Like it was a good time, man. Like I almost want to encourage people to fork Bitcoin again with bad ideas, but be deluded with Silicon Valley types again to think they're going to make something much better. Like we need Vinny Lingham to come along and say, "Yeah, we've improved Bitcoin. We're going to change it again." And I'll be like, "Yeah, go for it, dude. No worries." Like it was just free money.
Mechanic, is that because you just basically take these forks and then sell them on an exchange and harvest and buy more Bitcoin with it?
Exactly.
Well, I mean, think about it. Look at Roger Ver. I mean, he forked Bitcoin. He had Bitcoin. He ended up with Bitcoin Cash. And then what happens with Satoshi's vision? It's the same thing happens again. If you had Bitcoin, you got Bitcoin Cash, then you got Satoshi's vision. It's free coins for them. What do you think they're doing? They're selling them for Bitcoin. I mean, that's my opinion. They has
How
to be what
dare you?
How
dare you suggest that they don't have the philosophical purity?
I don't think so. Roger Ver sold Bitcoin to buy his own shit fork. He was a victim of his own scam. He didn't because the person making the fork doesn't have any entitlement to, they don't suddenly reward themselves necessarily with a bunch of UTXOs that they didn't have on the main chain, right? So if someone
Richard Hart did with Hex, you can.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying I said they don't necessarily get an advantage from it, right? Like, but it's totally feasible that Craig hard forks Bitcoin SV again, but then moves all the UTXOs to addresses that he actually has the private keys to. Like, I can see him doing something like that and saying it's fine. The court legally found me the owner of these coins anyway. So that's what ownership is. It's defined by the court. It's not defined by mathematics, which is generally his argument, which is I've been dealing with lately because I came across a BSVer in the wild, a very influential BSVer, and I was like, holy shit, you can't be thinking what you're thinking. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's hard to explain that to, you're just somebody new. It's hard to explain that. I mean, self-custody has never been easier. But like the part where you're trying to explain to somebody, hey, I just got into crypto, and they're like, I'm like, oh yeah, what did you get? Well, I bought a bunch of this. I hate to say it, cheap I bought a bunch of the, and how much Bitcoin do you have? Well, I have none. I bought this first, but I mean, I guess that's how they kind of get started. Maybe some people never realize, like, you probably should have 80-90% of your portfolio, depending on the cycle, or depending on where we're at, like you probably should have it mostly in Bitcoin. And trying to explain that to somebody new, it's near impossible.
Well, you know what kills me is that I found out recently that some people use Bitcoin as a generic term for cryptocurrencies. So they'll tell you they own Bitcoin, and you'll be like, "You own some Bitcoin?" And they're like, "Yeah, man, I've got 10 ETH, I've got 5 Cardano, whatever." And you're like, "Wait, those aren't Bitcoin, And
so it's kind of like this down in the South, Coke. They use the word Coke to describe
For all pops.
soda, all
Yes.
pop. Right, exactly. What kind of Coke do you want? I'll have Dr. Pepper. Oh, okay. Here's your Dr. Pepper Coke.
That's like, well, all hats are called sombreros and all sauces are called salsa, right?
And that was the Google Bitcoin that my coworker was talking about in 2017. Like, I still to this day have no idea what he meant by the Google Bitcoin.
Google haven't got a shitcoin that I know of.
Yeah, I can't think of that.
They're into real.
Sounds like you got scammed or something. I don't know.
One thing you can use, though, I tell people all the time in Mexico, because they run into this problem of, I get them into it and they come to me and say, "Oh, but Luna is cheaper, or I can buy this, or I can buy that." But then, you show them, and it's getting easier to explain to people. You need to, look at Bitcoin as the only one that's being adopted by El Salvador. Electra, just the other day, you guys don't know what Electra is. It's a major retail chain of Mexico, the largest retail chain of electronics. Appliances, stoves, refrigerators, stereos, and motorbikes, and all kinds of things. It's also where Western Union is. They now accept Bitcoin. They don't accept Ether. They don't accept Ripple. They only accept Bitcoin. So that's how I explain it to people. And if they still don't get it, then kind of like I said the other day, they're not worthy of it. I don't fight with people. I don't argue with them. I go ahead and let them make the mistake. It's the only way they're going to learn if they insist on it. If they don't want to learn from somebody else's mistake, then they're going to have to go through it themselves.
I do like that. Yeah, I love the saying, you deserve Bitcoin at the price you get it. Right.
Yeah.
It's sort of negative, but yeah.
It's the first thing somebody says is there's going to be something, I was talking to my aunt the other day. Well, something's going to come along and replace Bitcoin. And you're trying to explain to somebody that knows nothing about it, that nothing can be started as fairly as Bitcoin. The people that were in the beginning, they weren't in it for the money. They were in it for the revolution,
philosophical reasons. That's what I explain to people. I know my camera's not working, but back in PorkFest 2012, I bought my first Bitcoin in 2011, sold smoothies for Bitcoin in 2012 and 13. And we were not there. We were all libertarian anarchists and were enthralled. My first, hats off to Mark Edge and Ian Freeman from Free Talk Live. They probably helped mint more Bitcoin millionaires than anyone else, including Roger Ver and Eric Voorhees, because they all discovered Bitcoin through these guys, Mark Edge and Ian Freeman of the podcast Free Talk Live. We are all in it for philosophical reasons. And,
but Doug, but then it goes full circle, right? Like Mark Edge and Edge and Freeman, they convinced Roger Ver into getting Bitcoin, and then Roger scammed them by convincing them into Bitcoin Cash.
I get it. I'm not saying they stayed in a good path.
He even calls it Bitcoin. He even calls Bitcoin Cash Bitcoin.
I know, which is painful for me to hear, and it hurts my soul. I agree, but they still did more, I think, to get. And those who stayed on the correct path, we're benefiting from it, and we're thanking Roger. If we sold our Bitcoin Cash for the real thing, thanks, Roger. That was a great gift. Thanks, Ian and Mark.
Mm-hmm. Can I make a suggestion First of all, I don't think we should stop orange pilling. We should continue to orange peel. It may sound like we're talking to a wall most of the time, and we're frustrated and we're losing and we're not convincing anyone, but that's not true. If you think of it the right way, we're actually winning. The way I like to think of it is what Saifedean said, because Saifedean said, I don't remember if it was in 2017 or 2018, whenever it was on Twitter. He said he's not orange pilling and talking down shitcoins because he cares that he doesn't want you to get wrecked with shitcoins. He cares about you. So he's going to try to talk you out of shitcoins. That's not what Saifedean's doing. Saifedean clearly said the reason why I'm talking shit about shitcoins and the reason why I'm talking about Bitcoin is because when what I say comes true, when all the shitcoins go to zero and Bitcoin is the only thing that's left standing, people will look back and say, who is it that said this that was going to happen before? Oh, Saifedean, way back in 2018, he said all this was going to happen. He said the shitcoins were worthless and they weren't going to go anywhere. So to me, that should be your goal, to get yourself on record with these people, whether it's people in real life or people on Twitter, to say, look, I'm saying shitcoins are worthless. I'm not interested in them. Bitcoin is great. If you don't want to listen to me, that's on you. We're not here to control people. We're not here to tell people what to do. We're just here to tell people what we think is the truth. And if that bores out to be true, what we say, we'll probably get blamed for it, but still, we will be on record.
I have a different reason as to why I keep doing it, because if we don't do it, right, like when these people, like I know Mechanic and I always debate over this, when these people do stupid shit and they get burned, it becomes other people's problems, right? Like, for example, like the 2008 financial crisis, right? Like, I didn't want all these people, like, whose job it is to clean a house, to suddenly get mortgages to buy a $500,000 house, right? Like these people, and then somehow it's not their fault, right? And then I end up losing my job at Bear Stearns, right? Because all these banks lending out free money, like politicians pushing home ownership, easy lending, and then it becomes everybody's problem, right? Then all of a sudden, the government almost collapses because the bank failure, all this regulation comes in. So when you don't try to orange pill these people and they get scammed on these scams, they now try to force regulation to stop them from getting scammed again, which hurts Bitcoin.
Yeah, but this is kind of the way I put it for most people. It's not about like get rich quick. They want to buy these scam coins. They want to get rich quick. They want money, they want to put money in now and a month later be a millionaire. And it's hard to explain to them, like, it's not about get rich quick. It's about get rich eventually. And that's basically what I've done in 4 or 5 years. I've created wealth that I never thought I would have. My wife even looked at me and she goes, how come I'm not happy? I go, because money doesn't make happiness, first of all. Second of all, this was a grind. If you gave somebody $10 million, what are the odds that they're going to go broke? Just your average person. What are the odds that they're going to go broke? Now, if they've earned it or they've seen it grow themselves and they saw the grind, that's totally different. So
lottery winners don't do very well.
No.
Like they do well in the next 4 to 5 years, but after that, their lives are generally pretty miserable.
Yeah, sorry, man.
No, I don't mean to interrupt you. So it's hard to explain to somebody. It's not about buying Bitcoin now and being rich in 3 months, 6 months. It's about buying Bitcoin now and holding it for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. That's where you're going to get rich, not just buying it now and a month later.
And the other thing I hate is when people say that I got lucky in Bitcoin, which really frustrates me. I'll tell you who got lucky in Bitcoin, Roger Ver, because clearly he never understood Bitcoin. Like, those are the people that got lucky. People that got off the path and tried to create a better Bitcoin. Those are the people that got lucky because they never understood it.
Yeah, Gary, I want to say, like the idea that I still think I would take it another step further than you. The idea that you can buy Bitcoin and then it's going to make you rich after X amount of years is still a fiat standard fundamentally, because but to get rich, you buy some Bitcoin and that's it. Because there is no other form of property or wealth that can't be debased or stolen from you or siphoned off or confiscated or anything. Just the very fact that you own some Bitcoin, that's it. You're rich.
You're
now.
rich
That's
in
it.
Bitcoin.
If someone will still trade you shit that came out of a politician's ass for Bitcoin and you can get it, then you're rich. That's it. It's basically just that. Because like it doesn't matter if Bitcoin goes up 100x from now. I'm just going to be like, well, it's going to go up another 100x. It's just going to keep going up.
It's
forever.
going up forever.
I'm not ever going to sell it. If I'm not selling it, I didn't sell it at $1,000 and I didn't sell it at $10,000 and I'm not going to sell it at $100,000 because what would I do with it? There's nothing I can do with it. I'm just going to think super long-term, low time preference. Those kids are going to have kids. Eventually, we will keep the money in the family until we actually need it for things. And at the moment, because of the nature of the macroeconomic environment just means if you want houses, if you want cars and all that, just do everything in a debt-based manner, because that's the reality. That, like, all that happens is those debts shrink over the next few years. You'd be crazy to sell Bitcoin to do any of it. So
Why would I sell my Bitcoin
Yeah.
and pay off my house right
then
now? Why?
exactly, everyone wants to do that. They want to buy Bitcoin, and in 5 years I'll be able to pay off my mortgage. Yay! I'm like, that's such a
Okay,
foolish
yeah.
decision. I get it psychologically. It's nice not to be in debt, but
You want to get rid of 4% APR so that you lose 200?
exactly, and not just that, but like, you've got a house, and the house is going up in value, sure, but even like, all that is it's just keeping its head above water versus inflation. There's just
So guys, I have a dilemma here. Piggybacking on what you're saying, Mechanic, I'm about to refinance my house in Florida. It's gone up 25% in the last 8 months. I can take those fiat dollars and either pay off some loans that I have taken out against my Bitcoin, or I could buy more Bitcoin with it.
I
don't
thought
know
about
what to
doing the
do.
same thing. I thought about doing the same thing, refinancing my house, taking the equity and buying more Bitcoin.
So I'm torn. What, the benefit of paying off the loans is that I can recapture and put it back on cold storage. I just, it's kind of a dilemma.
Yeah, the custodial risk. I understand.
It's the Michael Saylor strategy, right?
I think, like, well, Jimmy G has his own take on Michael Saylor's strategy, and I do like it, and I do respect it. I can't figure Michael Saylor out. Like, I figured out Jack, and I'm really fucking happy with the conversation me and Tone had about Jack, because I defended Jack, saying that, yeah, I know he's a CEO of Twitter, and Twitter is an absolute disgrace, but I think he's just decided that's not a battle worth fighting, and that Bitcoin is ultimately how we win, and fuck everything else. And it looks like I was right, because he's gone, since he resigned as CEO, he has gone mega toxic maxi. And
Jack announced months ago, 6 months, a year ago, that Twitter could never be what people wanted it to be. And he put up $100 million to create a decentralized Twitter. While he was the CEO, he's basically creating a business that competes with Twitter. So he had to leave Twitter. And that's why now he leaves Twitter. What does he do? He finally uses Twitter. He's a tweet storm. Why? Because he's free. He's not tied. It's like Saylor has limitations of what he can say. He admits it's money, but he can't tell everybody it's a currency, because America is going to come at him for borrowing tax subsidized loans, which are totally legal. Even when he did it, Saylor said, when I borrow this money, it should be illegal, because he could borrow money and take down the US currency. Same thing Soros did with the pound. This is nothing new. But the point is that because of the way these zero loans are going, the big people, the elites, can get money so cheap. I got a car loan. I haven't had a mortgage, a car loan, an airplane, none of it. I pay cash for everything for the last 25 years. And last February, I bought a truck on a car loan because I just couldn't sell the Bitcoin to do it. I'm a fiat minimalist. I live on Bitcoin. So I have to sell it occasionally because I don't have a big income. My income is Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Most people don't have, I had to explain that to my mom, because my mom, she's got a hedge fund basically managing her money for her. And she's like, well, I'm going to take out cash and I'm going to buy this brand new Yukon or Tahoe or whatever. And I'm like, Mom, don't do that. Get a loan. And she's like, well, why? I go, what can you get a loan at? Well, 3%. What are you making on your, on your investments? 14%. Yeah.
3% loan is free money.
Yeah.
But that's how most people think. That's the problem, is people don't.
They haven't understood the nature of the money they're using yet. If the interest rate is lower than inflation, then you're being given money and you might as well take it. Like there's banks in the UK offering 3% loans right now. I'm telling my dad, my sister, I'm like, dude, they will lend you £50,000 at 3% interest rate. That's free money. Just borrow the £50,000, buy Bitcoin with it. It's over a 7-year period. For fuck's sake, take the loan, buy Bitcoin with it. You think Bitcoin's not going to go up 3% a year on average over the next 7 years? Of course not. Like, you could withstand 2 whole bear markets of, like, you could get through a whole of 2014 and 2018. Just do it. Borrow the money, buy Bitcoin, pay off the 50 grand for, like, 3% of the Bitcoin you bought with it, and then just laugh. Like, I don't understand why people don't do it.
You know how I got started, actually? Newegg and Amazon and all them were giving me 0% credit cards to buy graphics cards. It's a no-brainer. You're giving me free money to buy graphics cards, which I can basically turn into Ethereum, which I can turn into Bitcoin. And it was just, it's been a grind. It's been a 4 or 5 year grind. It's not get rich quick.
Do you make more money doing that relative to what you pay for electricity? And I guess you as well, than if you were to mine Bitcoin?
As far as, so right now, I think Ethereum profitability based off your hardware would be a little bit more than Bitcoin, but you have all the risks. You have all the risks of being A, holding Ethereum, B, are they ever going to introduce this scammy proof of stake? Because I'm all about proof of work. It's the only fair way to distribute your coins.
Yeah, but there's no proof of work in Ethereum anyway. The proof of work's an illusion. It's really just it's all just based on authority of what Vitalik says. Like if the minute the DAO hard fork happened, that's like, it doesn't matter what the miners say is the truth. It matters what Vitalik says is Ethereum. That's it.
Well, that's why I'm in the process of trying. That Bitcoin miners are so expensive, but I'm in the process of trying to convert all my graphics cards into ASICs. Some of these new ASICs, like the S19s, S19 Pro, they got a new one coming out again too. It's hard to keep up with all those, but they're getting expensive. They're getting so expensive because people realize, hey, this thing prints money. This prints something better than money. It prints Bitcoin. And yes, the power, even if you're on a residential rate right now, if you are mining Ethereum on any newer hardware, you are killing. You're killing it. My power is 14 cents, 15 cents a kilowatt. And when I started, it was like 10 cents. And either way, I'm profitable. And so if I'm mining at a profit, so like right now, I'm mining at a profit. I mine about $350 a day. If I'm mining at a profit, I'm basically dollar cost averaging in. So I'm paying my $1,600 a month NIPSCO bill, and I'm getting $9,000 worth of ETH, which I in turn time the market and try to buy as much Bitcoin as fast as I possibly can with that. So it's all a way for me to dollar cost average and then have my hedge, which is my hardware. And if I'm getting my hardware technically for free and using my profits to pay off that hardware, or my job money to pay off my hardware, I'm winning. So it's a pretty simple concept, but I've done well. I've done well doing that. And, you know, if it wasn't for channels like Tones or, you know, Max Kaiser or any of these guys, they're Bitcoin maximalists, like I really wouldn't have known. I'd be sitting here holding bags of ETH getting wrecked, because there's going to be another ETH is going to take another hit eventually, in my opinion, big time.
Yeah, no, Max Kaiser is great. I want to take a little bit of credit because I think what we did on the World Crypto Network around the time I was leaving the World Crypto Network to start my own channel. Like basically, because Max Kaiser went from being Bitcoin into being very open-minded about shitcoins. And then he had a whole 180 back to Bitcoin only. And I think what we did with the World Crypto Network had a lot to do with that.
I'll testify that you and Jimmy totally convinced me. And I have an IRA where I put it into Bitcoin. But during the time of that, they came out with XRP. So I thought, oh, this is a new one. It's going to be great, all this. So I bought the XRP, and watching your show is what convinced me to dump that shit quick. I got rid of it. I bought it at $1 and got rid of it at $3. Total luck. But I just got out of it because I realized then that, oh my God, this is not Bitcoin. Then I went to Anarchapulco and met Roger Ver, who was trying to convince me Bitcoin Cash was it with Barrick. And I don't know why, but I just looked at him. It's not it. It's not, you know, I already knew. I was like, I figured it out, and I couldn't believe these people are so more advanced than I was. But I met a few coders there from Bitcoin Core, and I go, but that's not Bitcoin. Like, no. And they were staying with the real Bitcoin. And it amazed me, but it was because of you and Jimmy and your shitting on shitcoins when you came up with that phrase and all that. Watching your show, your program was what got me to realize it. And I think I've talked to a lot of people. They said the same thing. That were 2017.
I really like Jimmy's songs.
Yeah. I still have a lot of people, like most of my audience is from those 2017 days. When everyone was scared over the hard fork, and they just kept watching us to guide them through it.
Yep, you and Vortex and Jimmy, and explaining what was going on and why what the big block was all about, and
that's about when I started watching. Was 2017.
Well, I remember, like, I watched it because I got in a bit earlier. I remember when Ethereum first came around, I remember when it was Mastercoin, which was supposed to be a layer on top of Bitcoin. And then, I think Vitalik wanted there to be some sort of change made to Bitcoin to accommodate it, and that wasn't going to happen. So he made Ethereum. And I remember reading, like, I made one post on Bitcoin Talk about it, where I drank, this is the day I drank the Ethereum Kool-Aid. And I wrote a post saying, like, this is interesting. It's Turing complete. So it's going to be able to do a bunch of stuff that Bitcoin can't do. That's kind of sucks for Bitcoin, no? And I had a short discussion with it of about maybe 20 minutes with some other people. And that was it. That was the length of my Ethereum whataboutism. It was over after that. That was my little, like, what about this? And they went, yeah, okay, but the trade-off is it's really awful. Like, there's not really that much of a use case for the, like, hard money. We weren't talking about it in terms of hard money yet, Bitcoin, but we're like, Bitcoin solves a real obvious and real problem. It's simple. It does that one thing. It does it great. The whole idea with this Ethereum thing is there's like a billion other problems maybe that no one really agrees on, and maybe there's not, how useful this is to humanity is pretty much the thing that needs to be demonstrated. And here's all the scaling issues it's going to run into, and it's just like going to be the most impossible technical mindfuck anyone could possibly imagine. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll give this like 5 years and look at it again then. And then the next time I looked at it was when the DAO hard fork happened, and I'm like, traditionally on a day like this where everything's collapsing completely, that's the day where if you were going to buy, you'd buy if there's a future. So I went into the Slack of the Ethereum Classic channel and was like, hey guys, how's it going? Like, you seem to, like, I was like, maybe this is what's going on with Ethereum. Like, I'm sort of like, I haven't been paying attention to this project since it was first announced. What's going on with Ethereum? I'm looking to get involved in this maybe. And I remember everyone just being like, lol, you picked a hell of a day to start. And I was like, it was literally like everything was crashing and burning in Ethereum. And I remember just reading a few things about it and going like, wait a minute, you guys are all going to a hard fork chain and you're calling that Ethereum? What? That doesn't make any sense. Like, you're supposed to be unstoppable code, right? Why aren't you like, someone hacked a smart contract, right? But the whole point is that that's just the rules of the code. It's not technically a hack, right? Like, if someone spends
but the main reason why they had to do that, right? Because of their ultimate goal of going proof of stake, and you can't have, like an unknown entity having so much stake.
That's a good point. I thought it was more unethical than that. I thought it was just, if like in the short term, I don't credit them actually, Vitalik and co, with being that long term about it, because I think proof of stake is ultimately like Jimmy Song said, their version of the debt ceiling. It's something that it will just keep getting pushed away.
It's no different from the money we have today. It's no different.
Yeah. So
when the developers can just decide everything on a whim, they've screwed us miners so many times. And I mean, as an Ethereum miner, I'm just like, well, what? They don't care about the mining community. They don't care about the people supporting their network. They don't. Block reward loss after they just write this stuff in. Oh, hey, in August, they're like, no transaction fees for you. We're going to burn those. Like, oh, so you're burning our incentive to secure your network? That makes no sense.
The miners are an incredibly poorly treated part of the Ethereum community. It's Oliver Twist kind of vibes there, and they are constantly held with the boot on their neck of, we are going to transition this difficulty bomb, this ice age thing that keeps getting pushed off into the future. It's a horrible looming threat.
No, but it's the same mentality, right? Like, have you noticed? I know we talked a lot about politics and COVID on this channel, and why is it that people that lean left and lean socialist and communist are always shitcoiners? Not always, but like there's a 98% correlation between being left-leaning, socialist-leaning, and being a shitcoiner.
Because
like,
capitalism is
incredible,
and socialism is not proof of work. It's something else. It's proof of victimhood.
It's proof of stake. No, but it is proof of stake, right? Socialism is proof of stake. And what you say they're doing to the miners, This is the same thing that like the states are doing when they force people to leave. They just put in these rules and regulations to frustrate capitalists enough so they leave. And then the place turns to shit. And then they go, see, it was their fault. They left. Now we need more regulation. This is literally the Ethereum playbook.
Well, this was my comeback to Bruce Fenton when Bruce Fenton said, if you think Ethereum is a scam, tell me who got scammed, who got scammed. And I was like, the miners. Like, obviously, the miners got scammed. But also the miners are doing the scamming too, because if you pay for something and you don't get what you paid for and you can't get a refund, that's also a scam. So if you try, I've tried to send in my life about half a dozen ETH transactions, and not a single one of them was a good experience. Every single time I had multiple failed transactions before the transaction actually went through, and your money is just gone. It's like you paid for the transaction and it doesn't happen and you don't get your money back. That by definition is a scam.
It's like $10 to move Ethereum right now. $8 to $10. It costs you what, 70 cents, 50 cents? I can look at Mempool right now. Like it doesn't.
But you don't lose the money. That's the thing. If the transaction doesn't go through, you don't lose the fee you pay. You at least get that back.
You know what drives me nuts about that is that I hate it when people hold Bitcoin to a standard that I go, that doesn't actually matter for Bitcoin. But by your own standards, your project is a failure. And they go, no, it isn't. Like Bitcoin needs to have expensive transactions ultimately in its future. If we're going to go down the path of, we need a high hash rate, we need that part of it, attacking the network, to be expensive, and we're going to economically incentivize that. We're not asking miners to mine out of the goodness of their hearts or anything like that. You're supposed to mine because you make money doing it, and when the block reward drops to almost zero, they're going to need transaction fees. That is the design of Bitcoin. Whether it works or not, we don't even know, but that's the theory of it, right?
That's how you're going to incentivize the miners in the future.
But we're never saying that. Yes, there was a mistake at the beginning. The We Use Coins video says, transactions are free and immediate and anyone could do it. That's not the model, right? That isn't what Bitcoin is. That's what the big blocker argument was. We want to make it that, and we were saying no, that's not what Bitcoin is. But Vitalik comes along and says, you're not what you say you are, Bitcoin. You cannot be an open monetary network. You cannot be this egalitarian movement if transactions cost, $10, $20, $50 on your network. You're a failure. And we're like, no, we're not. But you are, because apparently, according to your standards, that's not acceptable. And that's what your project is. It's the same as when the BSV people come and they're like, Satoshi says it should be like this in the white paper. Satoshi said we shouldn't care how big blocks are. And we're like, we don't care what Satoshi says. The only people who care about what Satoshi says are you guys, and you are following someone that isn't Satoshi. So by your own standards, you guys are stupid. I hate being held to standards that I don't agree with by other people who don't even live up to those standards. It's so infuriating.
The network is not controlled by Satoshi. It's controlled by us. Anybody that owns, mines, anything in Bitcoin I don't know. It's something special. I can't explain that to the layman, but it's something special.
Bitcoin is really complicated, man. And when people orange pilling people is like, you don't want to say anything that's false. And unfortunately, like explaining something as complicated as Bitcoin in a short, simple way is just, it's a recipe.
I always like to describe it as imagine if an analogy of gold, you've discovered a new element in the Earth's crust that is better than steel, better than gold. It's like Ayn Rand's reared in metal, but is invented by a person. And all of a sudden we discover that it's, incorporeal, can be sent over the ethers, which we call the internet. And people kind of get it a little better there, but that's what makes it amazing. And many cryptocurrencies have that property, but because Bitcoin has no, like you guys are saying, no ruler, no CEO, no foundation. It's just an element, like a natural universal element that was discovered.
Yeah, hey guys, so this continuous talk of shitcoins is inviting a lot of people to potentially just join us to debate, something I don't really want to do. People are now talking about how Zcash is more private, which is insane because Zcash is just totally centralized. But we got Sammy back. Sammy's going to join us, and we're going to get back to talking a little bit about price because Sammy is a trader. Glad to have him on. Mr. Four Flies himself.
Hey, how you guys doing? Can you hear me?
Hey, buddy, how are you?
Yeah, good, mate. How you guys doing?
Excellent. I'd love to get your take on the price. This show started as a price show, but I opened up the Zoom to pretty much anyone. I'm gonna go back to my screen share real quick. Gonna take one more sneak peek at the price since the show has been going on for quite a while. The weekly chart is rallying a little bit. I am currently neutral in the market based on Tyler James's Consensio position trading. I am waiting for the price of Bitcoin to break through a ridiculous amount of resistance in the $53,000 to $55,000 range, though it's not 55,000 anymore. It is now 54.5 because the 53 moving average is coming down. And when the 128-day crosses the 50-day, that's a mountain of resistance. So Bitcoin will need to prove to me that it's going to break above this resistance before I go bullish once again. Because if we get rejected in that $53,000, $54,000 zone and turned down hard, it could be a very, very brutal 2022. Sammy, of course, came out and participated in the last financial summit, which was great. We're going to have the testimonials out soon. Hopefully, I'll see him in DR one more time as this event keeps going. All right, I'm going to stop here with my analysis. Or maybe I'll look at the 1 hour chart real quick. The 1 hour chart continues to consolidate, and I do think it's going to break out to the upside, more likely to get us into that resistance cluster. I'm going to stop my screen share. I'm going to let Four Flies do a quick introduction, and then I'll give him screen share to show us his charts.
Awesome. Hey guys, how you doing? Yeah, I'm Four Flies Sammy. Some of you guys may know me. I've been on this channel before. Went to the financial summit here in the UAE a little while back. I'm also a technical analyst and I focus on realistic analysis. So thank you for having me, Tone. I was actually just watching the live stream and I caught up with all the analysis and then I just jumped to the current live bit right here. But yeah, so I'm just sharing my screen, right?
Feel free to comment on altcoins and Ethereum and anything else.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Yeah, feel free to comment on what we were talking about with altcoins and stuff too.
Oh, I'd missed that part. I was only there for the core Bitcoin analysis, but yeah, I mean, I've got opinions on all of this stuff. But the first thing that I would want to start with, if I'm about to give some analysis, hang on while I just pull up my screen share right here. Is this visible?
Yep.
Cool. I'm with you with the analysis. Something that's interesting that I felt like recently is that there wasn't much, kind of unique analysis you could do in this market recently. Like everyone was printing the same lines and looking for the same breakout. I know that you said you don't really do wedges, but I certainly do, and many other people did. And this breakout was pretty obvious, and that's actually one thing that was kind of starting to make me doubt the whole thing. And now, this rise into a resistance zone between 50.
The reason I don't do wedges because you don't need that bottom line, right? Like you could have done the same analysis with only that top downward trend line.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you could make this anything. I mean, some people were calling it like a descending triangle and so on anyway. It doesn't really change the point. It's just that if we get the breakout above that line, we'd be looking at a, little uptrend. But that's not even the thing that was really concerning for me. It was just that like this resistance cluster between 54 and 51 is being pointed out by everybody. Like I just feel like it's maybe a bit too obvious. It's the only, like, it makes complete sense. I can't think of anything that doesn't look bearish about this zone right here. Like it's just one of those things where obviously as an analyst, I want to challenge myself and I want to, consider both directions. Perhaps we can actually trend up, for example. I want to ask those questions, but I really it looks like such a terrible setup to find resistance. And when you consider that this whole downtrend hasn't had a single meaningful reaction rally apart from this, potential, I don't know what we can call that, but, this quick bounce up, we haven't had a single real reaction rally. I mean, if we rise up to say the middle of this box, it's already a 15% pump, which is the biggest pump we will have seen in this whole downtrend with this quick wick over here as an exception. So it makes a lot of sense as a resistance zone. I know that you were looking at the moving averages and even potentially an MRI top around that kind of level as well. I mean, all of these, like, this is the thing, is if we get these things coming up, it's just too obvious. That's my only concern, and I don't know what conclusion to make of this. Honestly, it's got me scratching my head a little bit. I'm wondering if perhaps, and I hate this kind of analysis, but if the time of year has something to do with this, where everyone was expecting generally a bullish November and December and then a bearish January, perhaps we get that. I really don't know, but one idea I've played around with in my head is maybe we get a quick, spike up above this range and catch some resistance just slightly higher, because there's so much resistance like everywhere, just because we've dropped so much. As soon as we break above 54, there's going to be more resistance at, just like 56, 57, right? I mean, there's resistance all over this chart. It could be that we, quickly blast through and then get a little bit of a drop down, but that's kind of where I max out, honestly. I mean, I wish I could say more, but it's just, there's too many people talking about it, and I don't like being among the masses with my analysis. I want to be a little bit out there.
That's why I try to ignore what other people say and just look at what I'm saying, because it becomes this mental, like, insane cycle of, well, if everyone else is saying it, then it's not going to happen. But now if everyone else is saying it, no one is expecting it to happen because no one is saying it, it might happen. So it's like this circular logic. So what else?
Pretty choppy for me.
Anyone confirm?
Yeah, I think
I think we're good now. It was a little cutting in and out.
Yeah, my thing is saying slight. Yeah, it was excellent stream help before. You guys still hear me?
Yeah, you're good. Motor is good. I can't SL at all.
Okay. Oops,
Hey, is this better?
Yep. We're good now.
Cool.
Yeah, I was saying it's the circular logic, right? Like if everyone starts thinking that it's not going to happen because everyone thinks it is going to happen, then everyone is thinking that it's not going to happen again, and then it can happen.
Yeah, and I guess, I mean, one big counter argument that I use for this whole, and this is like, I was saying this on my own YouTube channel as well, as like, I don't like the fact that everyone's talking about this. However, if everyone agrees with one bit of analysis, that doesn't necessarily mean it's not going to happen. Like the best examples of this is the breakout above 20K right here. Absolutely everybody knew, with very few exceptions, that Bitcoin was probably going to rocket ship straight up if we managed to break above 20K back, almost exactly a year ago. So like when there's wide agreement, we get the moves. It's like the dump that we had. I don't know how many people watching will remember this from 2018, but the dump below 6K, I mean, practically everybody knew that if Bitcoin crashes below 6K, it's going to drop a lot. And that's why we got a big drop. No one wanted to buy when there was that wide agreement. So, yeah, I mean, I'm with you there in terms of, it becomes this whole weird, self-fulfilling prophecy, but is it really, because everyone knows that, and so on. At the end of the day, this is what the analysis tells me, and it's absolutely clear as day. It couldn't be more obvious than this.
Regarding the breakout out of 20K, I think that every single Bitcoiner I talked to knew that once we hit 20K, we were going to go above it. However, when I talked to non-Bitcoiners, when I talked to just laymen and retail investors, they all thought like, oh, Bitcoin hit 20K, it's going to take a big dump now. So even though the Bitcoiners knew it was going to keep going higher, I feel like the vast majority of the people didn't. They thought, it hit its top again, it's going to go back down.
Yeah, and
but
also
it did get a bit of a drop. This was like
it was the third time it went above 20K that actually happened as well, right? So everyone that expected, the minute we get above the all-time high, we're going to do great. The first two times they tried that, they got wrecked, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're using like the 1 to 3% breakout rule, you would have insulated yourself from that. Yeah, I mean, if you use like a 3% breakout rule, that wouldn't have screwed you over in this case. It just depends on how you draw this. But the point is like, put it this way, like if we cross 21, I think, yeah, I mean, I don't know about people who weren't in the Bitcoin space, but the traders who were, I didn't see anybody disagreeing with, saying, oh, but Bitcoin might top at 22 or 24, like it was pretty obvious this thing was going to run to at least like 27, 30.
Yeah. All right, guys. Any other questions? We've been on the stream for a while now. Probably going to be wrapping it up at the top of the hour. Got about 8 more minutes. We have a bunch of people that did join us. Chris, I see you are unmuted. Go ahead, ask your question.
I'm going to bail, Tone. Thanks, everybody.
I saw,
later.
I saw that Chris Beluga had unmuted a couple times. I don't know if he wants to talk or if he was just.
Yeah, that was the Chris I was referring to.
Okay,
he's back to being muted. All right, guys. So, Sammy, what do you see? What do you think about next year? How do you see like fundamental analysis playing out? Also, give us an update on Dubai. Is it still a good place to move to? Since that was the main topic of discussion earlier. Jimmy, here in this right above you in the chat or in the video, he's down in Mexico. Sees that as the freest place on earth. I'm going to be going down there next month, but I spent most of the year in Dubai and it's doing fairly well.
I think the thing about Dubai is that it's not so much like other major cities in the world. Like Dubai really needs a vibrant economy to survive. I'm sure if they didn't, it would have been a lot easier to be more restrictive, but that's not the case. This is a city that relies on tourism for, I think it's like 20% of its income. That's ridiculously high. So, like they only had the very strict lockdown 2 weeks, for 2 weeks in like March 2020, which was like 21 months ago. And then since then, nothing. Well, there have been restrictions, but we're talking like, slightly reduced seating capacity and masks everywhere, which is definitely annoying. But for the most part, it felt like a very free part of the world. It also has, for the most part, a very free market, much more free market than, what I was used to back in the UK. So yeah, I still think that all of its strengths are here. If you didn't like Dubai before, you probably still wouldn't. But yeah, it's really blown up quite a bit. And then for the first part of your question about 2022, my main idea here is that Bitcoin's actual bull run this year hasn't been super strong in my opinion. Like it's almost exactly a year since Bitcoin broke above 20K for the first time ever, like for real, and we're only like 2.2x above that previous all-time high, or 2.5 now, something like that. So it's really not a huge breakout in my opinion. We haven't rallied enough for what a year should be for a Bitcoin bull market from just looking at kind of previous performance. And to me, that only points towards the market, perhaps maturing, for lack of a better word, getting slower. And so I'm expecting 2022 to be pretty nice. It wouldn't surprise me, and especially because we've had such a vicious correction in this market right now. Like to 69 down to 40 is ridiculously strong in my opinion. It's a minus 40% drop. That Bitcoin never dumps by more than that if it's in a bull market. For the most part, there are exceptions that apply.
Obviously, we had one earlier this year that was 50%.
Right. Yeah. So like it's been a painful year.
It has. If you weren't in like December, January, February, this has been a very painful year.
I mean, that's the thing, is there was like 2 months of nice price action, or call it 3, and then it's just been pretty shit after that. I mean, like most of the year was painful and you were waiting and holding your breath. I mean, just that range when Bitcoin dropped from 60K down to 30, we were stuck there for like more than 2 months, like just continuously. That's it's been a bad bull market so far. But to me, these are things that it's like an elastic band. It'll snap back in the other direction.
Don't you guys think that?
It's forming an awesome ascending triangle on the monthly scale for a potential breakout when everyone gets really pissed, like in March of next year.
Yeah, I was looking at that because I saw that you were covering this on the channel quite a bit. I prefer to look at this on the weekly time frame, probably.
Yeah, I was using the monthly, but you can look at it on weekly as well.
it makes so much sense that Bitcoin would do this, to be honest. And fuck, like what would the breakout point be if Bitcoin even did this? Like that would be ridiculously high.
Yeah, we'd go from 60 to like 150 real quick.
Yeah.
You took in
that's-
log scale.
I'm looking at the log
yeah,
scale,
well, maybe not 150, but we'd go up like 50 grand real quick. We'll break 100 for sure.
Well, last year, even at the end of the year, we went up $1,000 a day, 3 days in a row or 4 days in a row.
Yeah.
Last part of the year, people they forget how many times we dropped 6 major drops on the run up in 2017. If you go back and look at it. What I'm curious though is, with all these trading going on, all this talk about trading, don't you think that a great deal of the problem is that so many people, it's an asymmetrical bet that everybody knows it's going to go up, so therefore they're leveraging long with heavy margin accounts, and that is making a big difference because they didn't have.
I think corrections like this will watch that out.
Okay, because I just curious because there's so many people that are so sure of it. So many people I know that aren't even that good at traders or haven't been traders are trying to do this, and it's like, well, yeah, I get it. Everybody knows it's going to go up, so they're risking more. But obviously, if everybody's going that route, it's not, it doesn't always go that way. I mean, I've been a stock investor in the ICO days and the internet boom and computer booms, and I've seen lots of things blow up. I just look at it as, the market's unstable only because there's so many people betting on the fact that it's going to go up. And if everybody bets that, then obviously there's going to be people that can still see and, wipe out those longs. I mean,
I haven't really seen those funding rates go below zero. I keep an eye on all the exchange funding rates, and I really haven't seen any of them go to where you're getting paid to be long.
Well, there are.
Isn't that where we are right now? Just looking at the BitMEX funding.
Yeah.
Indicator.
Yeah, I follow Ugly's group pretty heavily, and Ugly and a lot of those traders quote it all the time. I don't follow the TA. I mean, I follow Tone and I enjoy TA, but I don't use it that much. I'm not trading right now. I've taken a break. But it's one of those things, and I get the feeling so many people are so sure that it's going to go one way. This is so common in human nature that, like Joe Sass is one of those that comes out and says, no, look at the order book. Well, yeah, if he can see it, other computers can see it and other people can see it, and that's the point is that it starts to work against you. And of course, as we all know, if you just zoom out, it will go up. And like Sailor says, it's going to go up forever. Well, it will probably for the rest of my lifetime. I don't know about forever, but as far as I know, I don't see what's going to hold it up yet if you zoom out. But you're going to have major dips, and people have got to realize when it gets to 100,000, you're going to see $10,000 minute candles or $10,000 hour candles easily. It's insane, but that's not a big deal to Bitcoin. I mean, look, 5% yesterday, boom. That's nothing. For the stocks to do that is very rare. I've been in stocks that dumped and went up ridiculous amounts, but as we all know, that doesn't happen like it does with Bitcoin. But Bitcoin's a one-time in a lifetime asset. The world is slowly adopting it, and like we all know with adoption, it happens slowly, then it happens fast. I've been through this with computer boom. I'm an OG, and as an old guy, I've been in this 3 waves, major waves with the computer, the internet, and now with Bitcoin. Bitcoin's bigger than all of them. None of those others were global. The internet, was a lot of tech in Japan, a lot of tech in the United States, but it wasn't all over the world like Bitcoin is going to affect everybody's lives as quickly as much. I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer. But again, since it is a no-brainer, everybody jumps in. You've also got high-speed trading and bots all over. They've got to be here. I mean, the experience of Wall Street and the things that they can do, I don't know. It's doesn't surprise me that there'll be these run-ups, but at the same time, there's always going to be a quick, it goes up fast, it's going to come back. I jokingly say Bitcoin takes the elevator up and jumps out the window on the way down. Well, the old adage in stocks was, take the stairs up and the elevator down. Now, Bitcoin takes the elevator up and jumps out the window on the way down.
Mm-hmm.
It's a dump, but if you know that, it's not a big deal if you're prepared for it, but that's where most people, young investors, they're not ready for that kind of action. So
BitMEX is the only one I'm seeing in the negatives. I very rarely see Bybit in the negatives.
Yeah. And I haven't been looking.
Yeah, a lot more bullish leaning traders over on Bybit, but this is Socrates' old site. Still keeps it still auto updates and everything, and yeah, he has Bitcoin in a new hyperwave right now. He is using monthly candles, which is not standard on Tyler Jenks's work. Usually uses weekly candles. But it's interesting how he has it right here by using my logic of you can't break any of the bodies of the candles. And it's pretty clean for a potential hyperwave on, and that means Bitcoin has a lot of upside to go before a potential crash.
Well, that to me is whether it, there's going to be crashes along the way, but it's got to go up. And that's what I mean. Everybody knows this. It's just a function of how much Bitcoin is left, how much Bitcoin more people are going to want. Nobody's got it yet. I mean, I watch smartphones and people resist it. Now they're totally addicted to boomers that would never have a smartphone, now can't get off of it. But it was really weird because it took forever to get them to use a computer. Then it took forever to get them to use a phone, but then it didn't. You know what I mean? It's like, it takes forever and then it doesn't. The question is, when's that going to actually flip? When's it going to be the 100th monkey? When is it going to be the mass, all of a sudden adoption? But there's no doubt it's going to happen. What's going to stop it? I mean, I was talking to the guy, Dan, who I'm doing this program with from Yucatan, and he wants to know, he wants to discuss in Spanish a lot about how do you break Bitcoin. And I explained to him, Bitcoin Mechanic had a great program. He did a great rant the other day. Lex, I loved it. But that really explained a lot about, they've already tested a lot of ways to break Bitcoin. It's not to say there aren't, necessarily new ways to maybe think of, but a lot of it has been thought of. There are people trying to break Bitcoin all the time. And, is it an easy thing to do? And the fact is, I explained to Dan, he wants to discuss it so people feel more comfortable because Mexicans think of Bitcoin as being a Ponzi scheme. And I'm like, yeah, but they also believe in lotteries. I mean, it's like they obviously, it's like South Koreans go, it is a Ponzi scheme. They don't care. Well, it really isn't. We know that. But the point is that the way to go about, educating people? And I don't know. I look at it as the easiest thing to explain to people is look at, around the countries, the corporations, the companies like Electra, the country like El Salvador, they're not adopting anything but Bitcoin. And why is that? Everything else is the distraction. But when's that adoption going to really take off? El Salvador is just a small thing. It's like Electra doing this. We already checked. I bet there's been very few, if any, people bought anything with Bitcoin at Electra stores in the last week. But the point is that it's going there. And by doing that, that they're not going to make it illegal tomorrow. They're not going to come out against it. And that's like, even in America, the SEC's made it pretty obvious. They got an issue with cryptos. They got an issue with this, that, and the other thing, but they're not going to be coming after Bitcoin.
Dude, one thing you posted a while ago, Jimmy, was the Dancing Hill guy, where there's some like drunk guy going nuts at a festival, dancing by himself on a hill, and everyone's laughing at him.
Oh, right, right.
And then eventually one guy comes along and joins him, and they start dancing together, and then everyone joins him after that. So like El Salvador's the first guy, right? So everyone's still looking at him, going, "I'm glad it's you trying to break the ice here." But the minute another country joins in, I think it's just going to be a complete avalanche of people.
Well, and something I was explaining to Chris Hunter of Galloy, who did the Bitcoin Beach Wallet, and other people that have done El Salvador. The interesting I see, and I've been trying to get this across to Ricardo Salinas of Electra, because what I don't think a lot of people understand is here in Mexico, or not all of Mexico, but the coastal areas, Baja and all the tourist areas are allowed to use dollars as well as pesos. So we've been living on two currencies all over the Baja. I explain Bitcoin in less than a minute to anybody that lives in Baja, because I can simply say, you have dollars and pesos. What do you want to earn? Dollars. If you have dollars and pesos, what are you going to spend first? Pesos. So if you have Bitcoin, hold on to it. You're done. I mean, they get it. They know hard and soft money. We live hard and soft money all day long. I carry two currencies in my wallet all the time. I use a credit card and tell them, don't use the peso exchange, use the dollar exchange. Charge me in pesos and the bank will give me a better exchange rate. So we play this exchange game. Most Mexicans are aware you don't save your money in pesos, you save it in dollars. Now, it's not going to be very hard for them to understand the next step is save it in Bitcoin, not Ether, not other cryptos. That's the hard part. But, they'll get it. It'll go, I believe, once we get Lightning wallets here and Mexicans can onboard easily and use remittances like this is why Electra is doing it. Okay, I understand Electra. Ricardo Salinas is going to be a Bitcoin. He seems to get it. The point is that the Mexicans receive remittances. They don't have to liquidate them. They go right into the store and spend them. Wow. Now you get 100% of your money or 99% of the money sent to you, and you go right in and you don't have to exchange it. You just buy the gift or buy the item, So when money remittances are sent down to Mexico all the time, If they don't have to convert it to pesos to spend it, and they just walk into a store and spend it. And Volaris Airlines now takes Bitcoin. You see, it's beginning to really make these are steps. It doesn't mean, it's happened, but more of these steps are going to happen more and more. I believe more places in Mexico are going to accept it. More Central American countries are going to be looking at it. Panama is not going to let this go by. They want the business. They're the banking center of South America. If they let Bitcoin get by, they're going to be irate. They can't let El Salvador have that. So I believe the competition of countries is what's going to be interesting to see.
Hey guys, all right, I'm gonna look to wrap up the show here. I just wanted to show my chart one more time. The daily chart is going to be absolutely critical. I still think we can rally into this monster of resistance around $53,500. And now you're going to have the moving average crossover right in that zone, which could seriously be problematic for Bitcoin. And then we'll see how it tackles it. And then from there, we will have a much better outlook on 2022. This could actually coincide with an MRI top if it keeps rising over the next week or so. All right. Any closing thoughts? Four flies, mechanic.
I'm gonna jump off, man. Thanks, man. Thanks for having me on. It was good fun. Christmas show, Christmas special, Tone Vays.
Yeah, well, like last minute Christmas special. Hey, we need to do something for Bitcoin's birthday on the 3rd. Maybe we can do like a nice 8-hour stream or something.
Yeah, sounds good.
Let's do a multi-channel stream, like on multiple channels.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind. It's just a pain in the ass on the technology. But yeah, I'm down.
It'd be worth the
last time you had the January 3rd stream, it was epic. It went like longer than 12 hours, and you had Adam back jumping on at the very, very end. And that part got cut off, which is unfortunate because I think it was a very interesting part for.
Was that the birthday one, not the having one?
Yeah, it was the birthday one.
Yeah. All right, we'll need to try it again. Yeah, YouTube doesn't like it when you go over 8 hours. Yeah, we can try to do a multi-stream one. Like, I don't really. I mean, anyone's welcome, right? Like, to us stream it through OBS. I don't mind.
All right, I'm out, guys. See you later.
Take care.
See you later.
Good to see you, Jimmy, man.
Yeah, happy holidays to all you guys. I'm gonna jump too. I'm gonna be out at the ranch.
Jimmy, happy holidays. Thanks for giving us an update on Mexico, and hopefully I'll see you in about 10 days.
Cool. All right. Take care, guys.
If you're placing Cabo still stands, I might just stay there again.
Oh yeah, it's still here. Yeah. And Tim's out of town, but he'll be back in mid-January, so we'll see if he's around. So he may come back earlier. So yeah.
Perfect.
Yep. All right, guys. Have a good vacation if you get one.
Later.
Yep.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, I got nothing to add for the analysis, so I'd probably head off as well. I wanted to make a YouTube video, but there's like nothing more you can add, so it's just wait and see for this now.
I think it's time for you to stream yours, right? It's about that time, or you stream later in the day.
No, this is bang on exactly when I like to upload. Most of my viewers are still in the United States, so it
All right,
works.
cool.
All right, guys,
All
take
right.
it easy.
Sammy, always a pleasure.
Right.
And thanks for joining us at Financial Summit in Dubai.
Of course, yeah, I'll be at the Dominican Republic one. That's going to be fun.
Motorist, gonna say goodbye to you. Any closing thoughts?
No, happy holidays, everyone. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, everyone. Thanks for joining us on the live stream. Speaking of live stream, I haven't kept an eye on that in a while on the comments. But yeah, we still got a bunch of people here. We got about 8 people still on with us. Your last chance to unmute and say your goodbyes.
Tony, I appreciate you letting me join the show today, man. I really do.
Oh yeah, of course. I got to do these every now and then. Maybe once a week I can do one of these, streams for the fans.
So I have one more question, and that is, do you see this pattern that we are in right now as a similar pattern from May?
as a similar pattern from
Almost like a fractal
May.
of what was going on from May to July.
Let me see. Mm,
Maybe not yet.
Yeah, not yet. So right now we are similar to what was happening here. And yeah, I do see that May to June similarity. This was the frustrating part. I don't want to see this. I really don't. Do I think this can happen? I do. I think that once we hit resistance here, we can make one more swing low and then rally off of it real hard and fast. I don't think we're going to be this slow again. I mean, this was almost an entire year to get from 30,000 only up until like slightly new high. I think that this can happen, but then from this point in time, I would expect something more like this. Obviously not that color. I would expect something more like this. And then this. And then that.
Okay.
In this kind of a time span, right? And it's going to start at a higher level, right? So it'll be here. And then here back to like 60.
Yes.
Maybe even steeper.
I don't want to see any lower because I don't want to see that low go below like 41K.
Right.
I really don't.
And then kind of this. So we're still looking at, you know, summertime here. So still like late summer, and we should already be pushing, you know, like 125. So something like that.
Okay.
So I think it has similarities of this, but I think it's gonna end very differently.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't technically like the people that are like, oh, bull market's over. It's like we never had that big rally, those candles, those massive candles that were just FOMO candles. We never had that.
Right.
Well,
I was waiting for a $10,000 daily candle to signify the end of the bull rally, and we never got that. The best candle we got was 7,500, and it wasn't even at the top. It was part of the rebound candle. Like this was, I think this was the best candle Bitcoin ever had. No, it's not. Sorry, it was. Where was it? This here was the best candle Bitcoin ever had, but that's not an end the rally candle. Like we need this candle to be over $10,000 in size, and it needs to happen at the top. That's when the bull market will end. And maybe even a few of those. Like Bitcoin goes up 8,000 in a day, and then maybe the next day or a few days later, it goes up 10,000.
Yes.
And then maybe a day or 2 days later, it goes up 12,000. And that's when it's over.
Okay.
But we are talking about Bitcoin rising $30,000, $40,000 in a matter of weeks. At the top of the market, not at the bottom of the market. Like when it happens at the bottom of the market, it doesn't matter. It needs to happen after people have already feel that Bitcoin is overpriced. And then it does one of these, like multiple candles in a row of above $8,000 each candle. All right. Anyway, on that note, we do have to get going. Otherwise, people that have jumped off 20 minutes ago are going to be very upset that we closed out like this. But that was a good last question to end it on. Hey, guys, thank you all so much for watching. And I will see you all maybe tomorrow. I'm not sure. It's a holiday. I like to take holidays off, but you never know. But later this week, that's for sure. Thank you all for watching, and see you all on the next one.
Let's go, Brandon.
Yeah, perfect.